Chips providing a bit of pressure here. Semiconductors downside. That has the NASDAQ in negative territory to kick things off this morning as we get going on Fed Day. Oh, by the way, yeah, Powell coming up this afternoon. Going to be no change as far as interest rates are concerned, but what will he say after more strong employment data even coming out this morning? ADP private payrolls coming out higher than expected, 192,000 versus 186 on that number. Remember, non-farm payrolls coming up Friday morning at 8:30 as well. So a lot to look forward to here this morning, a lot moving around in the pre-market as well. AMD downside, we'll touch on that coming up. Just reading a note here on this, DJT, Donald Trump getting 1.8 million in further stock options from Trump Media. So DJT getting a little bit of a bump on that. I also just saw a note on Square or Block. Downside here, federal authorities looking into financial transactions for the company. I'll dig into that a little bit further, but that just coming out as well. Not a huge move on that, but a bit of a downtick there for Block. Again, some financial transactions being investigated by quote-unquote federal authorities. But yeah, lots of semiconductor action so far this morning. SMCI, another one down huge. AMD looking very similar here to kick things off. Not a good look if you're the NASDAQ when that is the case.
I told you she should have wore the blue shirt, Brendo. She wore the black shirt, and this all happened. So, no, kidding, of course. AMD, yeah, I guess it sold or get bought up too aggressively for the market because it didn't really do all that badly. I mean, everything was in line. The guide was also decent, but just not as many GPUs as selling as they'd like. So.
Yeah, I mean, SMCI, same thing. Forecast a little bit on the light side as well. So maybe we're finally seeing a little bit of reality coming back into this. Just looking for more details on this. But again, if you missed it, Square, Block down 2% here. Just seeing federal authorities looking into financial transactions of SQ. So a bit of a downtick on that one to kick things off. Happy Fed Day, guys.
Yeah, well, it means happy earnings day, happy Leafs don't need Austin Matthews day.
Yep.
Happy you should foul. Apparently, don't let them get a three-point shot off if you're the New York Knicks. Like, happy that day if you're a Philly fan. Bees were in Arizona. Like, only baseball get a game stopped because of bees. But that Square thing, so what I saw is there's potentially a former employee saying they processed multiple cryptocurrency transactions for terrorist groups. If that's the case, it's not down that much. It's only down a couple points, but I think that's worth keeping an eye on. Are they the only ones that do? I mean, come on, probably not. But
no, the Binance guy just got 4 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Money laundering.
So you know what goes on in the crypto space, but we'll keep an eye on that when it's earnings, man. You got chip earnings moving around, both to the downside. It was just the two, AMD and SMCI. Amazon we'll get into because it's up, but it's only up because of the big sell imbalance that took it to the downside. If you look at where it was trading before 350, Amazon's essentially flat. So I think that actually can play in our favor for some opportunities in that one. And you know, Fed's not going to do anything. We do get jolts at 10. That should matter a little bit after being surprised by the number moving the market yesterday. I'll actually be, you know, not expecting a move at 10, but at least getting ready, maybe having some stops out there, being willing to take some fills at 10 o'clock when we get that jolts number.
Yeah, the market's doing okay here, down 0.42. You know, we talked about yesterday we were only short AMD all day. We were even short at the end of the day. Obviously, we can't hold after hours, but yeah, boom goes the dynamite to that one. I hope that everyone was able to join us on the recap show. We had a hell of a time last night on that with all of these earnings, man. We dropped you guys Amazon as soon as it hit, man. Amazon, bang. Not much, though, 1.61%. I was asked about this name. Said higher, it's kind of flat, so not much happening in earnings season. I tweeted that out last night. Something that I put out here, let me just go over to it, and we'll talk about earnings. They're going to be all on our watch list. But I tweeted this out last night. Oh, here's the Maple Leafs, by the way. Here's the game-winning goal here. So my daughter and I were watching this in bed on the phone as this was happening, and there it is, Matthew Nyes. So pretty good. I just tweeted this out yesterday. Does it actually matter what Powell says tomorrow? You know, we have seen the winners and losers so far simply with earnings and guidance. Shout out to Dan Emmons here. Shout out to Joseph and a lot of you, Crypto Rob, Henry. Smoke and Joe, thank you for all the comments about that. I think a lot of us are on the same page. You can pick and choose your stocks simply by, looking at the performance that we've had after this latest quarter. I mean, if we think the market's a little overvalued, then we're going to have an opportunity now to pick and choose some names that we believe are reacting in opposite ways or the correct ways of the movement. Like, I think that Meta is a name that I'm definitely looking to get into. So when we are raising capital up here, this is a good opportunity if the market continues to go down to pick up a name that's potentially, fallen and giving you a little bit of a discount here, 15, 20%. And then a name like Google that really knocked it out of the park has pulled back over the last couple days as well, giving you, honestly, maybe even a better situation. Like, you're like, oh man, I missed that quarter. Remember, I sold here and was like, oh no. But now it's coming back and I can almost right that wrong and pick up Meta at a severe discount. So it's almost like you can go 2 for 2 here by simply making the same move and then just kind of missing on one, but with the market reaction, you can put one back into your account. The big name is going to be Apple, obviously. But if we're going to talk about Apple a little bit, and I have so many things that I want to write down here for the sticky note today, is just trying to wait to see some levels. Look at the NASDAQ upside. Starbucks down 14%. Not great. So not super happy. I don't own this stock, but I was thinking about it for stocks, some of these consumer names, Nike, Lululemon, and then you had McDonald's, Starbucks, leading me over to Carvana with some consumer discretionary money coming through. Carvana's gonna be a little different because of the short squeeze. But what was the name that I was just talking about before Starbucks? Anyways, it'll come back to me, but I'm a little nervous about some of these sectors right here, starting to fall out of favor a little bit.
These retail names getting.
It was Apple. It was Apple trying to relate Apple to the retail landscape.
Gotcha.
So I feel like, a stock like a Lululemon, that's a higher quality name. People spend, discretionary income on Nike products,
China's still
AirPods. That's
Starbucks. The growth was it was growth. Their same-store sales was down 4, but it was down 8 in China. China. It's like Apple. Look, long term, is anyone really that afraid, concerned with Apple? As I said, I own a lot of the stock, even if I don't own the product. Everyone in my family is completely obsessed with it. It has been forever, and I think they're going to be fine. But we gotta wait for them to.
Apple.
I'll get to. I'm going to say some things at some point today about Embraer because it's interesting. They're coming up with a plane to potentially compete with Airbus and Boeing. And I found it interesting because I lament about Boeing every single day, and it would be interesting if someone would come in there and actually have a product that could maybe address some of that market. And it's a Brazilian company, but it's actually a really good looking chart and a reasonable valuation. Anyways, it was just something I've been looking at, but I'll get to that later.
I mentioned a couple things here, but first off, just to recap some of this data we got this morning, as the guys were mentioning. The ADP employment change comes out at 8:15, higher than expected. So 192 versus 162 expected on that number. As Neil was mentioning, we get jolts at 10. Again, not one that typically moves the market, but 8.7 million expected there. Again, we'll get that coming up at 10. We get both S&P and ISM manufacturing PMI, and then the services side of things we'll get tomorrow. But the big one coming up, obviously, Friday with non-farm payrolls, and then Mr. Powell to come at 2 p.m. this afternoon. I saw this note on J&J gapping up nicely here this morning as well. There was more decisions as far as the talc cancer lawsuit, so $6.475 billion in settlement coming through for Johnson & Johnson on that. Not a lot of volume behind this move this morning here if you zoom in a little bit, but up nicely as well here pre-market.
And it's interesting here, they went around the lawyers who were blocking this settlement, and they went directly to the actual the aggrieved parties themselves to make this deal, because some lawyers were just racking up the bill and they had really no intentions of settling it. So I did like that approach by J&J. Kind of put this talc thing behind them and let's move on from this. It's been a while.
It's been a long, long time. Yeah, we've been talking about this for years. MasterCard as well, another one with earnings this morning. Again, not typically a day trading type of stock, but one that you look at for a general view of economic conditions. So downside here on the forecast, it looks like it's well for MA.
Yeah, so the problem here is it's like
MasterCard.
you look at the jobs issue, right? So if we're hyper concerned about the labor market, and you sort of move that into, well, what everybody has debt. I mean, almost everybody has debt in North America, right? So it's a big deal. Everyone's got it, but as long as the money's coming in every single month, you're able to sort of pay it off. The concern always becomes what happens when maybe it's not as easy to get a job. And I think that's the concern. So you never really want to see these guys looking bad. That's not a good sign at all. Visa, I think we were pretty okay with. And MasterCard being down, it just makes it a little bit more pessimistic. I'm not all doom and gloom, but at the beginning of the year, I remember saying everyone was all hyped up about, we're going to get those rate cuts. But historically speaking, you never like the reason that you get them. Generally, the way it'll work is when they do come, and eventually, it'll be because of things that you don't like going on in the economy. So it'll generally be bad for the economy in that moment. And you're starting to see some signs of that, right? And people have now mentioned stagflation and all that stuff, but you get some cracks in the labor market. That, by the way, stagflation ain't happening unless you have a weak job market. That's part of it. But once that happens, if you still have inflation, you get some serious problems there. So I think you're starting to see some signs of that. I can see people getting staying a little bit defensive. But yeah, I don't like what I see with MasterCard. I don't think we're trading this today because A, I've never traded it before. B, the volume is very low. The spread's pretty big. But if this can't bounce back, yeah, not a very good sign. I mean, it always leads me back to, what's the thing that, if all of this comes to fruition, the trading vehicle for that would generally, for me, be a firm. No volume today, and it's actually flat. I know I said yesterday I like the short at 34, but yeah, we're not getting that today. But if MasterCard stays down, I might find my way, weasel my way into something on a firm, but there's no volume on it now. But I think that all bodes poorly, specifically for these guys here, even though they're now charging some interest. I think that's good for them, but they almost had no choice.
Yeah, firm could be a play. I mean, we're gonna have to wait for earnings on a lot of these names, and we talked about Eli Lilly working, and then you talk about J&J brought that story with the talc, $6.5 billion. It's always a pain, to have to pay that out. But a lot of J&J's issues have been overlying lawsuits and pending decisions. If they like this name up 3% today, I feel like the analysts are buying it. They only have, I think there was one more big case involving cancer again that they have to resolve. So they're almost through it all. I think, and they're bankrupting different segments. But again, I don't know enough about it. I'm just trying to react to the market. If the market is liking J&J here off of that news, then I think this is good. This is a good long, and it's really starting to break out again. If this can break through this 150 area for Johnson & Johnson, I'll have to find out what the dividend is. But it's a name that I own, and it's something that I've had in the portfolio forever, and it hasn't been that great. It's like a Procter & Gamble type stuff. They've already reported. So April 16th, they reported. So they reported right here, and it was, I guess, well received. 5 straight up days, 5 straight down days or so, and then the decision. I am actually debating here, possibly buying some J&J on this. Let me see what happens with Johnson & Johnson. the rest of the day. But yeah, if we take this 150, which it looks like we will, this could be a good long-term hold for a little bit back upside. It's not super sexy or anything like that. That's why I want to find out the dividend. But if it's in the 4%-ish range, I think it's probably worth something. So you get 5% in cash now. So anyways, I like that decision here. If the analysts like it, I can hop on J&J. I want to get longer in some of these health-related names.
All right, lots of earnings action to be aware of this morning. Here's another one. KHC downside this morning, 6.41 billion versus 6.43 billion in revenue for the ketchup maker. We were also going to mention PFE. Speaking of J&J, here's Pfizer. Huge move initially this morning up to 27, comes all the way back. Just noting some comments coming through here. I'll double check when the call is for Pfizer.
Well, it was a tough 2023, that's for sure, for Pfizer. They had 2 canceled studies for their weight loss drugs that didn't do that well. All the while, their competitors continued to do well. They also had several headwinds with respect to costs, so that was their focus here. Let's refocus on our core business and cut costs, and that's exactly what they did. You'll recall last year that they acquired CGen for $43 billion. That is a company that's focused on curing cancer, and that's going to be their focus in 2024. With respect to earnings, net income $3.12 billion. Compare that to last year when they printed $5.5 billion, mostly due to COVID drugs. Revenue as well, $14.88 billion. That's down 20% again, likely due to the reduction in demand for COVID products.
10 o'clock, the earnings call here. I did see a couple of comments coming through, possibly an interview, but yeah, another one. moving here, guys, but again, not a heck of a lot of volume.
Yeah, the thing about Pfizer is it was great during, well, it goes without saying, it was great during the pandemic for obvious reasons, but if you look at it post, this is a weekly chart of Pfizer. See this little wick down here? It gave up the pandemic bottom. You have to ask yourself a question. It's one thing to, okay, well, this is great, the vaccines and blah, 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 and it's got other things in the pipeline. There was the chance for them and their GLP, and they had all kinds of great possibilities. But then all of that faded, and my love shifted to Eli. I still own some Pfizer. My love shifted to Eli Lilly for the most part. And I think at this point, it broke that pandemic low, made one bounce, and is now failing to hold that on a weekly chart. I'm not even guessing where the bottom is going to be here. There's clearly going to, if they get some things right, I guess there's going to be some upside. There's no question about that. But yikes is all I have to say. If you're underneath pandemic bottoms, that's not even the penalty box. I don't know, you're suspended at that point. You're throwing down, that doesn't even make any sense how you could be that far down. So anyways, I'm not touching that 110-foot pole. I just noticed that Getter reported. I'm like, oh my goodness, Getter's up 50%, and I didn't realize, I forgot it was a penny stock. So I got excited by that for a second. But I'm not that excited to trade Pfizer. If anything, if it breaks a recent low, I think you're in a world of trouble with that one. It's not even exciting enough for me to want to day trade, because I don't think there's that much opportunity day trading it either. So I think it's more of a stay away. But very, very disappointing looking chart. To be under the pandemic bottom is embarrassing.
Yeah, Pfizer's something else sometimes. Yeah, under the pandemic bottom. Wow, I didn't even realize that.
Come on.
Donald J. Trump again. Up another 5% here, holding these levels one more time at $52. This could be a go get again down here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight days. They didn't sell off into the close, but they were starting to get to the downside. But they were holding this $48 mark. So if we just kind of zoom back out, there's a lot of what I want to get to this stock was because we talk about risk management a lot on this show. And although you can see 5 or 6 straight up days, yesterday, it wasn't a super crazy day in the name. This is trading pretty normal. So again, beyond something else hitting, and you guys are the ones that are all over Reddit and all this kind of stuff, it could figure out what's happening exactly with this stock. But I think it's going to give you more buying opportunities. And this is my trade idea for DJT for everybody for today, is we came back in here yesterday, and what level did we test? The high from the previous day. And we bounced off of there in the pre-market. We bounced off of there again at 10:30, and then we basically bounced off there again at 3. We were a little bit higher. We're just bouncing off those lows. So today it's setting up. Honestly, this is like, again, to write a book or something like that, this would be one of those things again where here's the pre-market into yesterday's high again. So long story short, it's chapter 1. I think 51, 50 into here, and then if you really go into those levels, then you're into 50. And I think 50 is a good level anyways to go long. So I feel like you want to put on risk in DJT in this 50 to 51.50 area, and it looks a lot like what happened yesterday morning, where you hit that high, got taken out, then boom, right back into that level, then start to go back upside again. So just a little bit of a trade idea right there for DJT. Let's go back over to wherever Fabian wants to take us.
Yeah, it was 1.8, I mentioned million. It was 1.8 billion in further stock options for Trump on that note this morning for DJT. Downside here in a pretty good way for Bitcoin ahead of Powell coming up this afternoon. We break overnight all the way down to 57, a bit of a bounce right now. But I mean, this is what, call it 3 or 4 days in a row here downside for crypto now.
Yeah, and everything on my watch list for crypto is red, Brendo. That is except for Riot Blockchain. And here is why, guys. They reported in the pre-market today, and they did quite well. They missed on revenue, but they absolutely destroyed on earnings. So the street was looking for around $95 million. They reported about 80, just shy of 80. But look at this. The street was looking for 14 cents per share. They reported 82 cents per share. That's a big beat right there. They also mentioned that their production was down for Bitcoin. They're basically citing network difficulty as the reason that they couldn't produce as many.
Yeah, all the ETFs, downside obviously with the price of Bitcoin today. Let's get some analyst moves, upgrades and downgrades. Adara has those over at the screen.
Dollar Tree kicking off the list here of upgrades, trading up over 1% after this upgrade from KeyBank. Amazon, after those earnings beats yesterday, getting an upgrade from Monness, Crespi, and Hart. 3M getting upgraded by JP Morgan Chase. They also had a nice performance on earnings yesterday. And Pinterest, another earnings winner, getting an upgrade here from Wedbush. Great report across the board for PINS, including revenue guidance above expectations for Q2 2024. Starbucks earnings game to the downside here today, getting this downgrade to hold by Deutsche Bank. AMD getting a downgrade from Citi with a price target of 176 after its own earnings report. Skyworks getting downgraded here by Susquehanna. And last but not least, Autodesk trading down just under 1% after getting this downgrade from Berenberg, guys.
Thank you there, Darryl. Wow, Starbucks. It's getting worse and worse.
Yeah,
but
where's the red for that one? Hold
yikes.
on.
You can throw Gates.
I think I was going to do this one because it's they've had a bad little run.
It's been rough for them. Like, I hate to say it. I know there was some chatter. I love it in the chat. Like, everyone's like, but their coffees. Some people are like, yeah, but it's the best coffee. The stock might be bad. And then others are like, the coffee's terrible. I don't know. I'm not a huge Starbucks guy. I don't really go out for coffee very often. I like making it at home. But at the end of the day, I think there's going to be a bottom somewhere. I have no idea where it's going to be. I just think there's going to be a real good value in that sucker at some point. Pinterest is an interesting one because that's the outsized upside move today. Outsized upside move ended up being in Pinterest, probably where nobody was expecting it. That's kind of how it works. Yep. So with an upgrade as well, I do like it. I wish the volume was better, but it's never really all that great for Pinterest, so it's not that bad. It's done 250,000 shares pre-market. That's more than normal. I look at these gap fills. You know, like 37 was resistance. If it pulls back in at 37, you're still up 10% if it pulls back into that 37 level. So you could try to fill in that gap, and then 37 would be my area of interest on Pinterest. Yeah, that wasn't intentional.
Area of interest on Pinterest. Yeah, okay. So Starbucks right now is not even. Okay, so here's a weekly chart on Starbucks. They're at 77. So I don't know why. I guess because it's a week, but it should still be filling down here. But anyways, right here is where we are right now. So you go back into 2022. Okay, you know, we had the crash. Not bad. This is the pandemic bottoms of 2020, $50, $60. You know, the whole world was shut down. Everybody is still drinking a crap ton of Starbucks. They've had management changes. They've had a lot of back and forth menu items and things like that. I think they need to really just consolidate what they offer and probably cut, 20%. I mean, they're going to have to probably cut some of their prices, but you look at local coffee shops, and Starbucks is probably even cheaper than them. So, I mean, it's just a matter of your preference of taste. A lot of people like supporting local coffee places, which makes a lot of sense as well. So that's that business. But Starbucks is in all the right places, in all the right cities. So I think Starbucks battles back. If you're a believer of the U.S. economy and retail space, this $71 or $72, if you can get something like that in the next couple days, this just looks good. For a possible battle back to the upside. If China ever gets itself figured out, down 11% in China, not good. We've seen that story with Apple, which is why I led directly to Apple when we were talking about Starbucks before. Not good. I don't know why I have DJT still up here because I was looking at my other chart. But yeah, I think Starbucks is going to find a bottom. A huge name, like a staple brand, down this much. I just think it's going to find a bottom, and there will be buyers that come back into that as well. McDonald's, on the other hand, right now, pretty flat. But McDonald's is, they did not report, but they are reporting tonight, I believe. McDonald's, let me just double check that.
No, we got McDonald's already.
We got it, right? Because why is it so flat? April 30th,
it didn't do
pre-market.
anything.
Oh, it was yesterday. Yeah, it didn't do anything.
Oh, I just saw this in the chat. Chris Allen, if Tim Hortons had a stock, they would be talking about it 24/7 on Trader TV. They do. It's just QSR. It's not. It's not specifically Tim Hortons.
Yeah, they were bought out.
Yeah, exactly. But
and Tim Hortons is really anyways.
Well, but I've owned QSR for.
Yeah, I did. I sold QSR, but
you know what? I should. There's some things that I've owned for a long time, and I think I do a reasonable job of cleaning it up from time to time. But that's one that I haven't paid much attention to. But there is a stock.
QSR is Popeye's Chicken and Burger King and Tim Hortons.
DK.
I like Tim Hortons. I like Tim Hortons.
When was the last time you even had Burger King?
I think we had it because we travel a lot. I think we had it in Barrie, during the winter.
Oh, that's
me and Barron.
Okay.
But definitely. Well, there's one on the Queensway.
Yeah.
Where is there another Burger King? I think there's one downtown maybe in Parkdale. Anyways, all right. Yeah, not
it's
too
been
many.
Years for
there's
me.
not as many around here. Subways are everywhere. For sure.
No, there's too many Subways. Subway has way too many locations.
And you know what's going to be here this afternoon? Ramin, are you focused? You know what's going to be here this afternoon? Wingstop. Yeah, she got excited right there. We're going to have some mango habanero. We're going to get everyone's request. I'm going to find out what sauce Adara likes. Honey garlic.
Classic. No, that's honey garlic.
No, I might have to void that.
Denied. That's my daughter's favorite wing sauce. Is honey garlic.
No, I'm not saying.
Garlic?
Not just it's too chalk.
Well, the thing is, at Wingstop,
it's like I will have.
Yeah, the whole point is to get
medium.
something crazy. Yeah, you don't want something boring there because there's so many flavors. The whole point is to get something.
Oh no, my kids will put barbecue sauce. They just anything with barbecue sauce. It doesn't even matter the barbecue sauce. If it says barbecue sauce, it could be smoking hickory. It could be double bacon. Blast. I don't know. If it's barbecue sauce, they're all about that.
Double bacon.
I just made that up. That might be a good one. Double bacon barbecue sauce.
I already love Ramin, but she basically said the mango's that's my favorite one. It's the one I always get. So by the way, Wingstop
Pepper.
is up 3%. By the way, it's actually.
Of course it is.
It's not doing any volume.
This is Trader TV Live, baby.
It's up, son.
And
this
look
is
at that. Look at that chart.
52-week high.
Look at that chart.
Look at the 50 period on this thing.
All you had to buy was a couple shares, and it's like wings for life.
Look at the golden cross when it takes out the previous high at 225, and you got almost a double up. Look at that.
So join us either way tonight. So Powell will be hitting, and then we'll have some wings to enjoy the FOMC.
Yeah, because that'll be boring.
That should be fun. Yeah.
Well, it won't be boring, but
it should be okay. Anyways, all right. Sharif, if you had wings, which you will be having, what would you have on them?
Lemon pepper, it's not bad.
I like lemon pepper, Sean. Lemon pepper is my go-to, Brendo, especially dry lemon pepper.
I don't know if I've ever had that.
No?
I'm a honey garlic guy.
Good. You good with that, Sean?
Or barbecue? I've never even.
Yeah, man, they make songs about it. They do all that kind of stuff.
Make songs about it. You listening to this guy?
Yeah, shout out to Drake.
Okay. I'm down.
Barrett,
I'm down.
never
All
heard
right,
of it.
let's get into everything else we need to know here. Lead us off with a look at the market.
Brendo, that's where we closed off yesterday after that big down move in the afternoon. We gave up 5,100 after rejecting 5,150 for a period of days. Now we're actually looking at 5,000 as our support level. That is, if we give way at 50-50. We're a skosh above 50-50 right now. If we give way 50-50, look out for 5,000 below. If we hold 50-50, look for 5,100 as a resistance.
If you have not done so, make sure you grab that. Absolutely free from us to you every single day. Before we come on at 8:30, you grab that, and then you come hang out for the first hour in the pre-market. We discuss what the hell to do with all those moving around in the pre-market. Here's AMD, top of the list, or close enough to the top of the list this morning. Down huge off earnings. Sharif said, wrong color for Lisa Sue.
I promised yesterday on the midday that I'd wear my blue blazer if they beat, and they didn't, so I didn't wear the blue blazer. No, let's talk about how they did, guys. Net income, $123 million. Compare that to last year when they lost 139. So that's decent on the earnings side. Revenue grew about 2%, $5.47 billion, beating the street's expectation of 5.46. The guidance, they're looking for about 5.7 billion in the coming quarter. That'll be about a 6% annual growth rate there. And it was really their data center and AI that really grew here, Brendo. 80% year over year on the industry, and it still didn't satisfy the street. So
yeah, across the board, all of these chip names downside this morning. We'll touch on SMCI here coming up as well, guys. But this is a big move so far. What do we do here?
What was it? In January, they're like, yeah, 3.5 billion coming from AI. Now it's like 4. Market's like, no, that's not good enough. What? So you're only 500 million more than you were telling us at the beginning of the year? Get out of here. That's not enough. And that's sort of where the expectations are at for AMD. The good news for AMD is that it's already done a pretty big, hefty pullback, let's just say. So this is 145 on the daily. I don't think we see the 200 period today, but that would be.
What is it?
It's very unlikely, but if we get there, it's going to be a buy zone for me next week. Or, well, I mean, I guess it could happen this week too. We're only on Wednesday. A couple of days worth of work there. Look, I want to be with the fade trade, and I marked off 157 yesterday. I knew that was going to be a line. If it got broken to the downside, I want to fade, but then you came much further, so I have 154 marked off to fade this. At that point, like, you're still down a couple of points if you get to 154. I also, like, 151 is more of a loose level in here. I do want to be shorting this pop. You're so far removed from the 145 now, the support level, that there's not much to do with that. Like, what are you going to do? You're already on the upside move. So if expectations aren't great, I do feel like it wouldn't make sense, Fed or no Fed, that before earnings on, say, Nvidia, that you're really going to go green today. So I'm just going to be picking my spots to short the pop. And 54 is out there. 57 is unlikely. I'm willing to step down. If it pops and fades the 154 level, 151 level at the open, I'd probably take a shot over there at that as well. I'm not really looking long there. I guess we're going to get to SMCI separately, so no need to talk about the other chips. I do look, Nvidia was a miss for me yesterday on 885. You know, like, you chalk it up. I liked it. I tried it. I was 1 for 3 shorting Nvidia, and unfortunately, the 1 was not the big one, meaning holding it at the 885. I can't look at that level and expect us to get there again, so I've got 860 marked off here on Nvidia, which was just essentially some support late in the day on NVDA. If it goes green, that's above 865. If Nvidia goes green, I don't fight the stock. You know, my hands are off. If Nvidia is down 1.5%, but once that thing is positive, I want no part of shorting it. It'd be enough of a surprise to everybody that, unless it's at $885 again, I'd probably stay away from it. But yeah, 860's out there. I'm going to be shorting pops in AMD as well.
All right. Hey, what's up? Okay, what just happened?
No, they went to the desk when you.
Oh, they went to the desk. Yeah, that's cool. We can go to the desk. I'm just trying to get the sticky note out in a couple seconds, but I'm gonna look long on AMD. So I'm gonna go sort of the other way on what the market's been doing here today. So down 6%. I really like the battle back here. I'm gonna explain myself on the sticky note for this as well. But I mean, we've hit that bottom of 146 and change. If we can fade this, go down another $5, try to get long in and around this 146 area, wait out to see if 145 winds up holding or not. We've been down here before, and now we're back. So this is a level that, you know, we've tested. I don't want to be there if it breaks it. So that is going to be a short. We'll be able to reverse into it. I feel like volume should be really good on this name with earnings, but we do have a violent day ahead of us, I feel like, for AMD. So for me today, I will choose violence with this name, and I will go long early on it, and then hopefully we don't get violent in an angry way. Is that possible? But I don't necessarily want to jump necessarily right into that short. I feel like today, and this is what I've written on the sticky note as well, today's for me is going to be a stock picking day. And what I mean by that is I don't really have, the last couple days I've written on the top, bearish, bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish, whatever. Today, I do have a specific setup that I'm looking for, but at the end of the day, it's going to be a Fed day with big earnings on tap, with Apple tomorrow. Amazon not moving, AMD kind of still in the pocket. I mean, down 5%, we've seen that happen on random days. Amazon trying to hold out off of that, and we're going to get to Amazon in a minute. This is just my sort of bigger talk, is that we had a huge move down yesterday that Neil talked about. You know, Amazon's really not up that much today. It's starting to go now, which is great. The market's starting to hold out, so that's great, and we're going to get to that. But let's just play specific names in the directions that we want, and I think we could be okay. So let's watch out for Amazon here trying to get higher now. But AMD for me is the long down there at 145, and I probably won't look at SMCI, but we have some levels on that as well.
Yeah, 3% here already, as you mentioned, for AMZN, trying to get above that resistance point from after the close yesterday. Beat across the board, just absolutely, whatever adjective you want to use, huge, enormous, massive, they all fit. This was kind of interesting as well, a new education-focused hub that each year they're going to give out over $250,000 in grants, which is always positive.
Yeah, why not? Cool, like that. Let's talk about this very, very big earnings report. Guys, net income more than tripled year over year on the quarter. $10.5 billion was the profit for this company. Revenue also grew aggressively, 13% year over year. The key divisions that performed well, not surprisingly, AWS, $25 billion they brought in from that particular division, a 17% year over year bump. And their advertising also growing aggressively again, $11.8 billion they brought in from ads. The guide was a little light. They guided 144 to 149 billion. The street was looking for 150. So.
Yeah, you mentioned this as well. Block accelerating here downside to the tune of 8+%. Now just went through 67 there on decent volume. If you missed it, government looking into, or authorities looking into some quote unquote financial transactions for SQ.
Yeah, it just wasn't reacting enough to take a trade. But yeah, it seems like that was a missed opportunity in Block. Not to beat up on a dead horse. Not happy Block's going down, obviously. For anyone out there, just be careful with that one. We'll get into some, we'll probably look at some crypto names, and that's kind of adjacent. But Amazon, I think we got somewhat of a gift. Like that sell imbalance that took it from 79 all the way down to 75 just meant that when the earnings came out, you were ramping off that price. And suddenly you can work off the 180 level again, which would have been tricky if you were trading down in the mid 170s. So I just feel like with the big move, the AWS was like 62% of operating income, which is, I mean, huge. And we knew that was going to be big. Cloud is a huge story for them. Like, I just like the longs back into that zone that we're sitting in at 350. So it's like 179.5 to 180 is really like the buy zone. You have 3 coffees there. Who gets? Oh, well, one
for himself. Okay, Randy.
But red? Okay.
Pick up the microphone, my friend.
Red.
All right. Okay, so are you a fan of chicken wings?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Loaded question. Have you ever had Wingstop before?
Of course.
No.
Really?
I'm not sure if I have either, to be honest with you.
Really? Okay.
We are getting Wingstop this afternoon.
Man.
I know. So I'm asking you, what would be your flavor Like, I know Wingstop has millions of flavors, but if you were just to say, you know what, you're gonna go with a flavor, we've had honey garlic on the desk so far. We've had Ramin's mango habanero. That's
That is legit. It's legit. You'll love that one. Trust me.
I do.
It's legit.
it's a little sweet and spicy, you know what I mean?
That's okay. I'm in. I do smoked jerk chicken wings on the smoker.
This is why we bring this man on.
Oh yeah.
This is why I told him pick up the damn mic.
I mean, over hickory. Oh yeah, over hickory.
See what
You
we're
know,
doing?
15, 20 minutes on the smoker, and
Legit. Yeah.
nobody's.
You may be disappointed with Wingstop.
I made
Well,
12 pounds of wings for a party, and they were all gone.
So
yeah, it's not gonna be as good as you
Hey,
make when.
I know, but if I can get
Temper
good
expectations.
dry jerk wings,
Randy,
oh yeah.
the next time you make 12 pounds, make 14 and bring some in here.
If
you
you
know
can
what I'm saying?
get me-
Because-
You make 12. You don't have to make extra. You could spare a
If
pound.
anybody on the show can send me some pimento wood that I can use on my smoker,
Okay, here we go. This is what we're talking about. People in the chat can do this.
real pimento with hickory,
Perfect.
20
Pimento.
minutes. Oh man, it's heaven.
We'll be tweeting that out. We'll get some pimento coming through, and then we'll have the craziest smoked wings on, which will be Wing Day Wednesday
And that's how you have to do jerk.
on Trader TV Live. One of these.
That's how you
Give me
get it.
some, I would be
Pepperwood?
very, very happy. No, pimento.
Yeah, I know.
It's so hard to
in my
get
ear
up
said
here.
Pepperwood.
Hard to get up here. Export rules and blah blah blah. But yeah, please,
There
thank
we
you.
go.
Or
Russell's
charcoal. I'll
liking
take
the mango
pimento charcoal
habanero.
too.
You don't abide by the rules. You live by your own.
A little bit.
Sean and Randy cooking. We could all three of us, man. We could all have a cooking session.
Oh my goodness.
going on right here,
We
talking
could
about food.
throw down in the back. I don't know.
I mean, we got to go get that brisket. Neil wasn't here that day.
I missed out big time on that brisket.
Yeah, and then we got
So-
crap from Ramin as well.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
All right, well, that was cooking. This is with me, but we need to have one with Randy. Cooking and barbecuing with Randy.
I'm already
right there. Yeah, we're already hungry. So this Wingstop may happen in the AM.
Well, I mean,
than the PM.
lunch would make the most sense, but I'm.
Yeah, but then we're not like.
No, I know.
The whole thing is that this is a
hungry now.
thing. Yeah.
I'm always hungry.
All right, we'll figure it out. Join us this afternoon for Wingstop Wednesday. It is now a thing, apparently. And if anybody works at Wingstop or anything like that, you know, hit your boy up. You know, throw a little 20% discount, something like that. All right, let's go. Pimento wood. Sticky notes coming in a couple seconds.
It's old school. Ramin has a solution to wing problems that we can discuss as well. AMD here, SMCI, another one to the downside, but looking a lot like AMD is where I was going with this. Earnings missing expectations, but back to that level from the pre-market, trying to get above it right now.
Interesting look here, Brendo. They missed on the top line, but they beat on the bottom line. So earnings come in better, but revenue comes in light. The guidance also beat a lot better than the street was looking for. They guided about 5.1 to 5.5 billion. The street was looking for 4.89, so a beat there. But the margins seem to be contracting, and that's likely because the liquid cooling components for their servers, the price of those has gone up exponentially, so it's eating into their margins. We'll have to see how they do next quarter.
Yeah, if you zoom out a little bit, we did bounce off last week's level as well, back to 725, 730 here at the low, going back to after the close yesterday, but trying to get higher here right now, guys, for SMCI.
It's a bit of a party pooper because it's up $50 from the bottom, and it would have opened down SSR. You can't open up SSR. You open down short sell restricted because it would have been over 10%. And you know, I was looking for just 720 and then down here 680, 670 for one of those SSR bounce reversals, but it won't be short sell restricted because it has to get there in the open market, which clearly hasn't happened. And even if it does, the amount of buying that's now gone into this thing, up $50 from these lows, it's a bit much. Like for it to go SSR now, like it just has to make a humongous drop in after a relief rally. So AMD and Nvidia will probably be trades for me today. I guess craziness could happen, and you could see yourself up at like 850 or maybe the 800 level could be something. But you're right there right now. Yeah, the SSR bounces have been actually pretty solid as long as you pick your spots. But they got to be down 10%. You know, Starbucks falls into that category today. We'll get to them in a second, but SMCI not so much anymore.
Yeah, so for me, SMCI, I mean, it's always been one of those names that you've had to be super careful with. And I mean, trading it into earnings, I think the move was supposed to be 13%. So you're not even moving that much today on that. It's had a huge battle back. So just like we wrote down for AMD that we wanted to go long on AMD, and we've already talked about this, now it's up to 150 and looking like it is going to recover a little bit here. SMCI to me is a very, very dangerous name, but I like the long again. If we can fade back into 760, I like the gap into VWAP back. So that's the play that I like. Generally speaking, I would like it to be under VWAP, fade back to it, and then hit the short. But SMCI is telling us that it wants to go higher. It was a lot lower, man. Like, you're up $50 from where we were when we opened the show. Like, so this name, well, I mean, opened the show, I guess, was 8:30. I was looking at 8 o'clock, so that's my bad. But 8:30, you're at 760, so you're up $30. It's had a nice move up. It was at 750 at 8 o'clock. You're going to have imbalances come out at 925. If they're a buy, this name's going to shoot up. I think you can fade it into yesterday's sort of mayhem, maybe a little bit here, where we tried to settle down a bit into 860. But honestly, I prefer the long in this name today. I know that might be counter to what many people are thinking, but back into VWAP, probably worth a shot here. 760 or so on SMCI, but have a stop somewhere. Like, I don't know what kind of shares you guys are using, but like risk like 20 to 25% of your daily loss limit on a trade like this, because if you don't, this 25 could become 50, could become 75, and then could be 100% of your day on one idea just because you're wrong. So watch out for this. See, even just now, it just faded back 2% a little bit. Hit the 200 period. SMCI 800's interesting. So is the 750, 760 area. I like a fade back into there and then, you know, bump it long back up to 800. So that's my initial trade. I think there's $50 there.
All right, we touched on it briefly to start things off here. Here's Starbucks grinding along the lows right now. A lot of the semiconductors, as we were saying, trying to bounce, but no such luck here for Starbucks. Yeah, China problem still pointing to a slower than expected recovery. I mean, we've been saying this for the past couple of years here, at least. It's about time they figure this out, I think.
Yeah, this was not a good report, Brendo, and I don't say that lightly here, guys. Net income to the company less than $1 billion, 772 million. That's down aggressively, 908. They took home last year. Net sales, which is revenue, down 2% to 8.5 billion. The guidance very light as well. They're looking for a reduction in sales in their U.S. stores, international, including China. They're looking for 11% decline next quarter in China, Brendo. Same store sales in the U.S. dropped off 3% as well. So not a good look. We'll have to see how if they can get out of this funk.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the market right now, taking out the highs, you can see what matters today. So on a day when there's so much to think about, what do we do here with this, guys?
Well, I'll tell you this much. If it gets worse than this on the weekly chart, $71 is a pretty darn big level, but you got to pull out the weekly chart to even see that. How bad is Pfizer? Pandemic bottom for Starbucks, $50. Starbucks getting beaten up, and it's still in the 70s. If it's already 10% down. So what's SSR? If it gets down to $70, $71, I'm looking for an SSR bounce 100% at that level. That said, I actually have a bid, so I don't miss it at 71. Once it gets down to that price, and I'm going to look for a bounce play there. Every single even dollar and half dollar, I'll look for a bounce. The other thing here is it's hard for me not to look for a short today on it. It's a little bit spaced out from previous support and resistance, but suffice to say, you pull it up on the daily chart, 82 came up for me there on the daily. 84 as well, but if it pops a little bit too far, if you go to $82, you're still a good 7% to the downside. So I want to be looking to short pops in here and give it a little bit of a wide berth. Maybe the 80 level sets up, but the levels are so far away that as long as it's under 82, I just have to look to pick my spots on a good setup. And a lot of times that'll mean maybe test a pre-market high, spike into 81, fail a breakout there. But the levels I'll be sitting at are pretty far away on Starbucks, as you can see. So at the open, I'm not anticipating any fireworks. I think it's more likely we find ourselves in a chip name or a weed name off the open.
Yeah, look, we've already done our sort of talk there about Starbucks, right? We went over this about 40 minutes ago. I pulled out the weekly chart. We saw that 72. I mean, I'll still have it up here. Let's just call it out. Wait, just real quick. Neil just went over it, but we had already sort of looked at that level. So yeah, I mean, the talk is what it is. I think that's a good buy down there. I think the U.S. consumer is strong, will always be strong. I know here, just going out and seeing all the moms all the time, buying Starbucks, no matter what, all of the time. And like my daughter loves it. I feel like it's a cult thing. Starbucks will get bought up at some point. I think you can wait for this level, $71, $72. And quite frankly, I think I'm going to be in there buying that as well. So Starbucks down here, I feel like it's a washout moment for them. Let's figure that out. China is still a problem. The daily chart, not very healthy there for Starbucks. But again, heading into the report, you couldn't get above the 50-period moving average. That's always a problem. We talk about not trading anything until this starts to turn up. Well, it's starting to go downside pretty good right now. Starbucks definitely in trouble. Not investable at these levels. It could get a lot worse before it gets better. So again, down $5 from here, I think you buy it, but I don't think that happens today. Wait 3 days. I think we'll start nibbling in on Starbucks.
We were just discussing who is using Pinterest these days. Ramin is. Figures. I don't have an account.
I have. Look, I told you off
Yeah.
camera, I like it for fashion. You get ideas like how to put stuff together, but yeah.
No, you made a good point too in that when you make a Google search for a specific item, sometimes it's in the images that are at the top of the search. So that's usually where you encounter it. But this is a huge move here for pins.
It is, Brendo, but they did well. They beat on EPS. Earnings, was an absolute blowout. Revenue was an absolute blowout. $740 million they brought home in revenue. The street was looking for 700. They also popped 23% year over year. That was good. The guide also heavy, 835 to 850 million for the next quarter on revenue. The street wanted 826. Here's what Goldman analyst said. In addition, we think investors will appreciate PIN's management emphasizing that Amazon and Google partnerships are contributing revenue momentum in the recently reported quarter, and that dynamic should continue to build throughout 2024.
Yeah, a little bit light on the attention here as well, but so much going on this morning.
Yeah, well, we sort of said this before when we did the upgrades and downgrades. Pinterest doesn't do a lot of pre-market volume, even when it reports. So I don't think it's anything abnormal that it's light volume. That said, you got to be patient with it. So on the daily, there's your 37 resistance. Previously, you've broken everything out. I think that's the spot that I'll be looking for. It's an outsized move for pins. Rather than try to explain it, I just feel like I want to look for an opportunity to get into a long, and that's the first level that stands out there on the daily. I don't think it's so light volume that any trading that's happened, like, okay, so it looks like 39 could be a breakout, but that's such light volume that who cares? So I'm not going to be sitting out there looking for a breakout trade at some top that's completely thin. It's either it dips into 37 or we sit out the first 10, 15 minutes and find a level. But I don't want to be, if it just crashes through 37, I'd probably look for a bit at like 35 or something like that. Don't really want to be looking short here on pins. I think there's enough to focus on. We haven't even really talked about the weed names either with 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, the weed names yesterday were, oh man. All right, well, let's talk about them now because I won't be trading. Pinterest. Okay, so right here, I mean, yesterday, wow, a huge move to the upside, taking out many levels. And actually, you know what? For CGC, I think if there's another name you guys want me to look at, we can do that. But I think CGC yesterday was one of the more popular ones. And the reason why I'm talking about this again is that we mentioned this yesterday in the after show. This was the only green sector yesterday, MSOS. So the marijuana sector was the only green sector. It's kind of funny because it's green, but I mean, it's been red a hell of a lot more than it's been green. So this does not look like much like a Christmas tree at all. It just looks like a burning Christmas tree to the red side here, like every single day. I mean, we pretty much have like 4 or 5 up days. So you got to celebrate when this is in the news and it's being talked about. The problem is you plant a seed in the ground and it grows literally a weed. And now I feel like you're going to be able to grow some more yourself. And some of these companies are going to be in a little bit of trouble. It's not hard for barriers to entry. So when you're seeing a name here that was $3 back in March, up to $14 right now on a lot of hype, we've seen it happen here before in this country where, it's really super good, before sort of legalization, and then as the story comes, it's like buy the rumor, sell the news. If it's going to come through, it's going to be great, and you probably get more bumps than this. But I think it's worth taking some out on the way up. Trust me from experience, and I've taken some out too, but I'm holding now minus 80, minus 90%, and we've talked about that. I showed Sharif yesterday, it was minus 99% on Aurora Cannabis, so that was fun. But so, you know, trying to learn from past mistakes here. Now, the other thing that I like, we had yesterday, and a shout out to, again, the best damn recap show in the nation, which I won't be on today, but we had Scott's Miracle-Gro and Brian Shannon. We talked about some of these names that are starting to get going here that look decent, right? Not only a fertilizer company, but you can get those weeds growing a little quicker with the right products. This name's starting to whoosh upside a little bit there. And then I asked him about one of my favorites that I think Sharif talks about sometimes on the midday show, and this is GRWG, Grow Generation Corp. Again, a dumpster fire of a name, but, you know, in the sort of picks and shovels aspect, these are hydroponics and some of the equipment necessary to grow said seeds of cannabis. So I think that there's some potential in this name as well. Let them cool down a little bit. It looks like we're getting there. Wow, it's 9:25. Okay, that's a little bit of a cannabis corner for this afternoon, for this morning. Well, still on wings, man. Randy just messaged me. He's like, I am down for wings.
Well, I mean, there's a tie-in as well there because, hey, maybe you partake a little bit, you get hungry, you want some wings. There's nothing wrong with that, everybody. Look, I think you fill in some of the gap on CGC today. So I was looking at afternoon support 13, and then on the daily, you got to go out to like 11. It's like 11.70 to about $10. So it's like, oh, sorry, 10.70. Like it's in this range in here if you go out to the daily chart, which I can. There you go. Like you have this little wick top in here. It's actually more like 11.60, and then that's like 10.60. So that would be one buy zone, previous resistance into support. And then if you look at yesterday in the afternoon, the biggest pullback that it had was failing the 14, where they gobbled it up. I mean, where the market gobbled it up at $13. So those are the two spots that I'd be looking for dip buys. And the thing about it is, like when it drops down like this, it doesn't mean you have to sit on the bid at that price. But if I see buyers there, that's where I'd want to put on a trade. Like not every single dip is one that I'm willing to buy. I do think you're going to have a little bit of sell the news here. There was a question. We're going to go back to the desk in a second. There was a question about why is CVS down so much. If you miss on the top and bottom and revise your guidance lower, then this can happen to you. CVS down 14% and heading even lower as it's getting absolutely crushed. So a lot of really bad moves down on earnings here. Let's go back to the desk.
All right, guys, we're talking about price target entry today within the context of the overall theme of the week, which is the gap and go trading strategy. Catch that with Adair and I today at 11 on How to Trade.
There you go. Get those good entry points. That's what it's all about. I mean, a trade has to have an entry. It's got to have an exit. You also have to know where you're wrong. Like, imagine you were long CVS, just for example, because that's the chart I happen to have up. If you're like, I like the stock, it's a good valuation, but you're trying to swing trade it, well, it's broken support. Now what are you going to do? Pull the chart back 10 years and figure out where the bottom's going to be? Always have a plan going into something. And I'm not, not to pick on them. Like we could be talking about Starbucks or any of these names, to be honest with you. So Starbucks down 13%. That'll be SSR. CVS, I know it's down over 10, but it's not something that I would look to trade for an SSR bounce play. It's just not a stock that I think has enough interest in it. You got some delivery numbers out of China for the EVs, but yeah, they're not really doing anything. I did have my eye on NIO for a break of the $5 level, potentially on those delivery numbers, but the volume only just now crept over 1 million, and it's looking kind of sleepy. I'll have it up, and on the off chance that it goes, it wasn't enough to put it on my note because the volume just wasn't there, but they did have some growth. If $5 gets there, I'll probably jump over to the stock and then make a call at that point. So AMD and Amazon, I feel like that's where most people are going to be headed. Oh, great. Yeah, it is what it is. Like I said, I was waiting for Amazon to get up to like 154.
Is it there already?
No. It just pulled back $3. So if it had gone up $3, maybe I'd be shoring off that 154. Sorry about those wicks, but already starting to pull back. I'm going to assume there was some imbalances. It's the first of the month, but actually no, there's nothing there. Pfizer, that's small. Pinterest is a buy of 360,000. That's not nothing because it doesn't do a lot of volume pre-market. But yeah, but looks like AMD's already pulled back in. Remember the 145 that I said wasn't likely to come into play? Well, that support on the daily, now you might be there on AMD. So I thought we'd get a chance to fade 154, and suddenly we're looking at the other level, which is 145 support on the daily. Amazon still holding 181.6, so maybe it comes back in and gives us some fills back into 180 at the open.
Oh man, I'm hitting the wrong keys for my stop because I want to make sure. Oh, there it is. Okay.
For less than a minute to go.
Yeah, for me, AMD, I mean, I'm not surprised. We wrote down 145, but we're going to try to go long there. But I don't know, like Neil said, that's going to come in a little bit quicker than we thought. So I'm getting my stop orders all set up right now, just in case we do trigger some of those levels to come out for our trade here on AMD, as we are sitting on the bid of AMD near that 145, sitting on the offer of Tesla and on the bid of AMD. So here we go, getting ready to go right now.
Yes, sir. It is hump day. It's big earnings. It is obviously some Powell. We got Jolts at 10 o'clock. We got Randy walking right through. But Adara, ring it in 3, 2, and 1.
All right, we'll watch out. All right, we will watch out now for Amazon up to that 181. We talked about trying to fade some of these levels there for Amazon, but yeah, we did get up to that 182.50 or so area. AMZN, I think it's worth some kind of a fade up there, but who knows how much. Amazon on earnings, very, very risky trade, that is for sure. So we'll wait to see if we get something up there near that 182. And then Neil was mentioning that 184, yeah, 183 level
Comes
too.
AMD.
For sure as well. Yeah, AMD down to 146.50 already.
Yeah, Starbucks tagged 75. That dropped $2 at the open. Wow, oh, that's nasty. Starbucks already under a little bit of pressure. AMD might be going down, but Nvidia is actually trying to go to the upside. Maybe that'll test that 860. Oh my goodness, Tesla, we didn't even mention Tesla. Tesla just ramped $3 at the open.
Really?
Yeah, so if you go out to, whoops, zoomed the wrong way. If you go out to yesterday, 185 resistance, 191 resistance on Tesla. That wasn't even on the radar initially. So Starbucks not doing anything. AMD, obviously I can't fade 154 when it's at 147. So the 145 level, I guess, is gonna happen first. And here comes some Amazon. Whether it's Amazon or AMD first, I think they're in a race to see which one's the first dip buy.
So we had Tesla on as trade idea here, number 2 or 3 for shorting. So we will see if we can get that pop upside right now. We have your first dollar club member right now. It's going to be Amazon. So let's wait to see now where we can go. But we talked about trying to get short on Amazon. So we did that right there. There it is right now, man. Put that in your freaking register if you like it, because there goes Amazon trying to break through 180, trying to hold it though. Let's put a bid a little bit lower and see if we could take it off of your sticky note trade idea right there. Amazon short, and boom goes the dynamite right there. It's a little bit of a hot dog cannon as there goes Amazon. It is $1.20. Okay, we're here and we are in the building one more time again for you today. There's $1.50 right off the jump for Amazon.
Yeah, I actually just made 50 pennies on Amazon and then got out for a flat trade there on the long. It looks like it's trying to pull it back in there. We're in and out pretty quick. We like that 180 level, so just going to have to get it. It happens so fast there, so I want to make sure you guys saw that. AMD's getting down to the 145 level. We're going to have to respect that as well. But yeah, let's see what's up, because right now I'm not seeing anything that is out of pocket just yet, with the exception of Nvidia doing something that I wasn't anticipating. Going to the upside when AMD came down. My initial plan was fade 860. If AMD's at lows and Nvidia's at highs, I might throw that out the window.
$2, here we go, it's Amazon. It's a nice downside move, now breaking through 179. Again, there it is right there. We're just joking, sticky note is not behind a paywall. Yeah, you don't want a sticky wall, but this is a free sticky note, not a paywall. It was out later today, so we got that out at 9:20 or something like that. Too busy doing everything else, but this was a good one here. It's Amazon. It is a nice move to the downside. And there it is right there. Let's props it up. You know, again, people could look long, people could look short, but as we keep saying, stay in your pocket. And there it is right there. It is $2. Let's put that right there on the board right now. And we said the kind of month was last. Now we'll see if we can start it off here again right now with another one in May for everybody. So, I mean, you know, month is just a month. We keep with our strategies, and there it is right there. Thank you so much for everybody's continued love and support as we'll go 1 for 1 right here to start the day. And it's not just 1 for 1, it's a monster. We're $3 in the money, and the market is starting to get lower right now. This is what the trade looks like. It's Amazon. It's 181 short side, exactly as we wrote right here. Take it out. We still have 1/3 of it left. So far, so good. It's Amazon. It's downside, and it's been good. But here it comes right back up now. So be careful with the trading, but so far, so good here on what is a market bounce off of VWAP.
Yeah, market bouncing. We'll see if the wheat stocks bounce. 13 just came in. First thing, we're going to have missed AMD, and I'll get to that in a second, but we just put on CGC, which just tagged the $13 level. You're not going to want to have even dollar stops on this stock. I think that's a bit of a mistake. So we're going to let it get underneath that 13 by about 20 cents or so. This is not a stock that's going to move like a normal $13 stock, right? So wider spreads, expect 50-cent dollar moves to be rather the norm here on CGC. AMD was a...
Darn it, we just were so close.
It did get close. I see 145.61 is the low on AMD. So it got pretty darn close. Obviously,
oh my God.
No cigar on AMD, but it's absolutely flying. It was a dump at the open, but I said I was shorting 154 instead of the 151. Crazy. So AMD starting to come back in here.
I was bidding
now Nvidia. Okay, now Nvidia's tanking.
I missed that by 6 pennies. I'm at 50 flat right there for AMD. So let's see if it comes back in. Again, we'll go a little bit higher on that one for advanced micro devices. Nice move back up for Amazon, baby. So yeah, let's wait to see if we can do anything on this one back to the upside into 182. Let's wait. Let's see if we can get some more short up in around this level. We've already taken this out. We've done pretty good on that. Maybe if we give it back all the way to zeros again, we can get out and then reload this name. So I'll put it out, even though my stop is higher. We'll put a stop at 181 to get out for flat and then just regroup on this trade. I mean, that's perfectly fine by me because we want to get more short up here near that 182. So far, so good here today. We'll go 1 for 1 and start the month off right. Adara.
One of the many earnings names on watch here today, NCLH, Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings, down almost 9% right now, beating on EPS but missing for sales and projecting much lower than expected earnings per share for FY 2024. Also worth noting they have a short float of over 8%, guys. NCLH.
It's like on a day like today, there was way too many earnings that you had to pick your spots. Like normally NCLH moving that much, or Starbucks didn't go. NCLH moving that much is going to be on my radar. I'd probably be trading a CCL as well, but not today. So we tried the first level on CGC, anticipating a gap fill. It went 20 cents in the money, but I was risking 35. So if I'm risking 35 cents, I'm not really scalping it for 20. The math doesn't work because even if you win long run, you lose there. 11 to 1170 was the next dip buy zone. So that's the only other place I want to take a shot at this one to the downside. I know Tesla's going, but watch out. I think there's some other names that are much more important. If AMD continues up in phase 150, suddenly Nvidia looks a little better. I did not want to be shorting Nvidia off of that 860 level if AMD was literally hitting those bottoms. I wanted to see a pop and then where the sellers would come in, and if it's going to stick around, then I still like some Nvidia to the south side. Tesla, I know it's running, but that one wasn't on my radar this morning, so I don't think I'll be trading any Tesla. We might trade it later, but not early.
All right. Yeah, we're still looking for those trades. So, yeah, so Tesla is on my radar. It's been here for the day. This is going to be my third trade. So I'm looking for, we've already got Amazon. We're looking for Apple, and we're looking for Tesla. Yesterday, Tesla was PL1, and then Apple was PL2. So I'm just looking P&L. So we're, this 186 is on my radar, shorting it in and around 185 into 186. We got pretty close, man. Like, we were waiting at 185 for the short. So let's see if it will come in now for Tesla. Maybe a little bit of a bump up as the market was bouncing off view up, and now we're starting to head to the low side right now. So, like you guys could see, we're just being as patient as we can be because it's been working. Here's Apple. I mean, I'm thinking now about switching into the short, like getting short a little bit earlier on that. We had waited. We liked the 172 area for Apple to try to get back into here. But again, the market started nice, came out. Still think we could get back up to the upside now. So worth a shot just sitting around waiting a little bit here for Apple. And again, our risk to reward is already set up. Like Amazon, we just took $2.50 there. We're going to get stopped out if we lose 15 cents on the last third of this trade. So this is what we're doing. Yeah, don't worry about that, Ozen. If I short Tesla, that has no definition of it not being able to moon. Trust me on that one. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing. And the other name that we wrote down was DJT, DJT right there. We can have a quick look at this name. It did the dance that we'd sort of thought it would, but it didn't get into that 51 level that we had written down. It got to 52, which is also the 200 period. So this could be also supported a little bit here, up 7%. It's been kind of a rough ride for many names, but this name is 6 straight days to the upside. So DJT, probably a decent long there. As things are starting to come back in, let's go look for some more.
SMCI dumped right
Did it
at
hit
the
that
open.
760?
So, yeah. It went to 735. It's now SSR, by the way. So at the open, before the open, we were saying, yeah, that stock didn't go 10%. It did, but it didn't open at 10%, which means it's only now short sell restricted. 730 is okay. But I got to go back out and show you guys here. That's 720, and then 680 would be the big levels. But it's already wicked one. So I'm really just looking for an SSR bounce play, which means get into a support level, hold it, and then you're good to go. Starbucks is basically like, I don't care what you want. It's doing what Intel usually does, where there's no pop to be faded. So first available, it's short sell restricted itself, but 71 is the spot that I like. So you got pre-market lows in 76 on a pop, and then you've got 77. I'll take some shots to join the trend here. I did want to be short some Starbucks. I was anticipating there'd be a bounce on this stock at the open, maybe try to fill in the gap, and then we'd be able to fade it. Amazon's now trying to hold that 180 level, so I got to go back over to that one. You had the wick bottom. I need to see a consolidation over VWAP. We had the dip buy. It happened really fast. We got the bounce off 180, got some out at 60s. It ends up being a flat trade. Pretty much exactly, but it has to hold on to the 180 bid. That's the price I want to see buyers above on Amazon.
All right, we do have some numbers coming through here today. Let's go. We did have it on our watch list as well. It's 9:40. I got to fix my ear thing. I don't think I'm hearing. Oh, here we go.
Benzinga?
Benzinga, there we go. Yeah, so right here we do have some numbers coming out at 9:45. S&P PMI. I was about to say FOMC. That's later on. PMI for April coming through right now, looking for 49.9 prior right there. And then a whole bunch of ISM numbers coming in, and then of course the big dog coming through at 2 p.m., which its bark will not be as severe potentially as its bite in a couple months could possibly be, but not for now. All right, so we'll just wait. 2:30 is going to be the key time for that, because that's when, unfortunately, he's going to get asked a lot of questions, and I think he will have a hawkish tone. So I go red, dead red, looking red, come the 2:30 time. So we'll look for red, we'll look for some shorts at that time, but we will also just trade price action. And there it is. We will put a fail on the last piece because we could have got out. We saw it bouncing around VWAP at 180, but again, for me, we'll go 1 for 1 right here today and be super excited and pleased with our green day so far here, and just wait for the next opportunity. So there it is, 1 for 1. It's the #1 name here on the sticky note. So if you're done trading for the day, great, but stick around and make sure that you continue to look for more opportunities. Hopefully you found one over there.
Well, I thought there'd be other SSR plays today, then it ends up being a day 2. Like yesterday, there was day 2 on SoFi. Today, Chegg and Coursera got dumped yesterday, both online education names. Held $5. So there's your wick underneath at $5. Your higher lows right in here, just underneath 510. Like that's where the stop out will be. So I want to be getting long into the 10s and then out underneath. It's about 506. If it gets a fresh low, that's not the play. It's a higher low play for me. But I want to be adding, because I think the move is to here and then to there. So that's 530 and 545 on CHJJ. So again, it's an SSR play. It was down over 10% yesterday. So for today, it will be short sell restricted, which I do like. So Amazon, it's now starting to hold VWAP. So you got the wick underneath. We've seen this pattern before. Now it's going to start to come back in because the market's pulling back. So I want to see it pull back in. If I see a bounce off VWAP, we get back into it. That 180 going to be in play, I hope, all day long for multiple chances. Nvidia is starting to ramp back into the upside here. Might get a shot at that 860 level, but not just yet. Like, nothing's really come into the pocket. Intel, usually I like to fade that stock, but it was already at $30 this morning. So it was like
$30.
I know, but that's the thing about Intel is like the $30 level is just such a big psychological, and when you go out to the daily chart, it was also support. Like it has to break $30 for me to be short that. I'm not shorting directly in front of it. It just almost doesn't make any sense, as bad as the stock has been. Yeah, I wasn't pulling the trigger there, but if it's gonna pop, I think there's a chance. If it goes green, that's at 30.5 bucks. That would be the fade zone for me. But if you're wondering why I wasn't even considering short at the open, it's because I would just not short like 30.10 into 30 bucks. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Scott H, look, I didn't go long CGC for a reason there. I think it was a good opportunity, but we did talk about, that high there of about $14, $15. So we'll get over to that in a minute, but we're going to have Adara right now. We just had 50 cents in the money on Amazon. Let's see if we actually take it this time. What's up, Adara?
Waiting to get those S&P Global Manufacturing PMI numbers here coming in for April. Just got it that in 50 on the dot, so slightly above the consensus of forecast of 49.9, below the previous of 51.9. So just to clarify, S&P Global Manufacturing PMI 50 versus consensus of 49.9. Continuing to the downside here in the SPY, not much of a reaction, guys.
Are pretty much in line right there. And here we go. Let's bring it down to the downside right now. Let's spin this a little bit more. There's the sticky note again coming into play at 181. So we're short again right now. All right, you know what? Let's take 50 cents. I'll cancel that bid at 180. We're dancing around. Yeah, now it's starting to go back up to the upside. We were dancing around 50 there a little bit too much, and I was like, let's take it there. We wanted to see that number come in a little bit there. That was as expected, man. I mean, you're not going to get any more closer than that. 50, here it is right here on Benzinga Pro platform. 50 versus 49.9. So the problem was the prior was a little higher. Prior was higher. So now you start to come back in, which is good. I mean, the PMI a little bit lower. Hopefully that can help the case here for a softening rate environment. But for right now, here comes Amazon trying to pull back in. We're going to bid 180.50, like I just said. If we do get that move, I'm at 180.49 actually. Why am I there? All right, so we'll wait for a little bit of a pullback here for Amazon off of this level. So far 1 for 1, trying to go 2 for 2 here on the same name, and it's not necessarily working out. We still are waiting for that 182 trigger high up there for Amazon for us to lose on that. Here comes Apple, nice move back up again. Sometimes these manufacturing numbers can change. Like,
remember, Jolt is at 10 though.
Yeah, the opinion
right?
of this
So,
market here.
I don't know. I came in here thinking that 9:45. Okay, we got a number, but at 10 o'clock, we saw what happened yesterday with like job costs. So Jolts, I think that'll be interesting. Job openings. We'll get that in about 12 minutes. I think you could have a little something there, but you could reverse direction. Still not much of a pullback. Sorry about the wicks on that. There, that's way easier to see. So VWAP now sits at Amazon. You have a couple of wicks down, but it hasn't really gotten all that close, unfortunately. Sometimes the fills come in, sometimes they don't. I've canceled AMD down there, but 154 is still going to be the spot for me. Chegg's starting to go. It's not necessarily the one that I thought was going to be the SSR play, but it's the one that's set up. So, there's your false bottom, and then there's your break back out. Again, it wasn't the first thing that I thought was going to be the SSR play. And guess what? I didn't think NEO would go right away. And that's now trying to take out the $5 level. So we kind of like right before the market opened, I was like, yeah, don't sleep on NEO. It didn't do much after the delivery numbers, which weren't bad. Now if it pulls back, I'll take some VWAP in here for sure. That's about 485. That's too far away.
Convinced.
Yeah, that's actually, now that it's breaking 5, I should be moving into the high 80s. Wet the beak if it gets into the high 80s. But NEO now through $5, up 6%. Good for them, NEO.
Yeah, good. NEO's
It's been a while since this was a hot stock.
All right, so we just went over there because we were just talking about CGC, and I saw this $12 bottom, but now we're long at $12.40, and that bottom is now in jeopardy. So here we go. This is where we're long. I'm going to take a piece off here at 30 if we can get that. Hearing in my ear right now, good delivery news from Neo, starting to pop that name. We do get a piece out here of CGC, but we're watching for that $12 break, a little bit lower than that into 11.80, which are these wick bottoms here. So we just put on some more at 20s, out at 30s, first in at 60s. So our average price is where you could see it right now at 37. So we're not really out of the, well, we're out of the money, but I mean, if we don't like this position, we can get out now and basically pay fees. So yeah, let's wait for that one. So now we're just going to wait for CGC. Hopefully it goes higher. Yeah, Neo's still going?
Well, yeah, I was just looking for like an up down at $5 to maybe pick something back up on like a 10-cent pullback if it did it. Instead, it went the other way. It just instantly held the $5 level and is already at 5.10. So now I'm looking pull back into 5, dip buy into 5. CGC didn't quite get to the second level that I liked, which was down in here. It was at the 1170 area, but it is making a bit of a bottom. I took the shot at 13. If it runs this low, I do like that 1170, and I'm sitting there. But if it breaks that bottom, that's still holding the support I like, and I would jump back in at Dara.
The numbers on Neo there, which the market is just reacting to now, actually coming in at 15.62 thousand vehicles in April 2024. That's a 134.6% year-over-year increase. So market reacting a little bit late to these numbers. Getting nice volume, though, here, up 8% NIO, guys.
We went short again right now on Amazon, so a nice little trade here for AMZN as here we go again, guys. Good level. Let's go. Bring the pain to the downside. I know Bezos is done buying, I think it was, what, 14 or 15 yachts? So right now he's not selling any more shares, I don't think, but maybe he is.
He sold everything from his filing.
Yeah, it's too bad. Hopefully,
the last filing.
File again, my guy.
The last filing he sold everything.
Yeah, so hopefully right now we are another 50 cents in the money for that one. And we've taken out a whole bunch down here for that trade. I mean, we did go short there at O's again. So that's basically the flat trade, I guess. But there's the load up there. We were waiting for 182.50. We still want more shares up here if we can get it for Amazon. Might not be the smartest thing to fade this name. So let's just see the reaction here because the market's pulling and Amazon's going the other way. So this is not the ideal trade for me. So we'll watch out for that. We do have that lottery ticket on CGC that's more becoming a dumpster fire rather than a ticket of some sort. But here we go down to $12. Here's the breaker level that just hit. A little bit of a refresh there off 12. We did talk about not that disaster would strike this name. I mean, down 20% is pretty disastrous considering, you know, it's given back. There it goes, breaking through there. So there, we'll slap to fail on that lottery, but like which happens for most lotteries. But there goes to the downside right there.
All lotteries.
All lotteries. Well, someone wins, but there goes 21 to the downside right now, 21%, and still going, giving back half of what it was yesterday. CGC downside. I didn't pay for shorts, assuming we probably have to.
Yeah, I didn't either.
So here
you know
we
what?
go.
Even if you're not going to short it,
I want to try.
Yeah, even if you're not going to short it, I just got in and out flat for a rebate because I didn't want it on Neo. Neo's doing so much volume that I basically was just able to get in and out. But I wanted 505 here in Neo. I'm just going to get on the bid and move it. No, even if you're not trading something to the south side, having the ability for the locates is actually valuable if you're going to actively trade it, if you're with real trading. We talk about this with IPOs as well because it allows you to have sells and then dedicated short offers out there for multiple take profits. It just makes it more flexible. So, you know, in and out flat on Neo. Chegg is starting to go, but I want to pick something up before this gets to VWAP and NIO because there's so much room for this to run. Like you could be easily at 550 today. I don't think you're getting to 630, but I want a piece. Oh, CGC? Yeah, see. Okay, now it's at the next level. Something popped in and I'm like, oh, I must have just got Neo because I just put that bid in underneath. Nope, it's the other one. It's CGC. So I tried it down here off the 13 bounce. Yeah, now you're into that 11 and a half spot in here. I think if it does bounce, you got to think 50-cent moves, dollar moves, just because that's how this sucker's been going. But it is trending into the downside. Anticipated this could happen, but wasn't looking to go short. Didn't even pay for locates, Adara.
Another earnings name moving here. We had a lot this morning, including Transmedics, TMDX reporting last night. Earnings beat across the board and increasing their full year revenue forecast. This one is not necessarily a super small cap here, over $3 billion in market cap. It is worth noting as well, 19.3% short float for TMDX, guys.
All right, we went long. We've been going back and forth here with CGC here as well. We've lost on it. I was just looking to see if this was the flush area. So we've been buying some back here. You can see where we're long. We're long at 60s here on CGC. Again, a pretty interesting name. It's funny that we traded today, but not yesterday. And today it's going the other way. And yesterday it just went upside. And today we're heading to the downside. And I'm still here trying to catch what seems to be a pail of falling knives. So we'll wait to see here if this can go back in. So here comes Amazon. Oh, we are supposed to be at 182 right now. I don't know where my offers are, but this is a good level against that high. My stop for this was that high of 182.50. Amazon really getting going. We said this could have been, oh no, don't go down without me now. Okay, we'll have to just take small now. We just missed that top there on Amazon. This is not looking good though. The market is starting to go, darn, Sean. Oh, pay a damn attention. We have an okay price. We're short at 181.75. We're just too obsessed with CGC there for some reason. We should have stuck where our bread was buttered. 182.50 out on Amazon if we break it. That's fine if we're wrong. But look at that. Oh my gosh, Sean, what exactly have you been up to these damn days? Let's go. There it is again, Neil. It's another dollar right there off of that 182. The Dollar Club is here on Amazon today. It's our only trade. I mean, we've traded CGC, which we've lost on, but Amazon here, so far so good on some of these ideas. Look at that move straight up to the downside. That's what we're talking about one more time here. It's Trader TV Live.
Yes, sir. And you know what? CGC is actually catching a bit of a bid here. I see a refresher at 60s and 62s. I like them both. But I'm long Neo that's headed back into the high. Acknowledge that wasn't the price I wanted. I wanted the mid-5s. I got 6s. I'm bidding 501 as well. We're going to take some out if we get a little bit higher. I said I would go back to Chegg after things settle down on the other two longs. So Chegg, one clean entry point. We're able to get the 30s. We talked about where this could be headed. There's one. There's two. If it breaks 550, then we're holding on for the dream. But remember, fundamentally, these guys stunk yesterday. Coursera stunk. They stunk. So this is an SSR bounce play. I think it's probably going to fade at some point again. But yeah, happy to be in it. Just thought it was going to be something else. You know, at the end of the day, SSR bounce plays, it has to be down 10% and it has to set up. So you just take the ones that do. I thought there were better opportunities potentially even on SMCI. We just didn't get it. CGC needs to get back above $12. Holding 1160 is only a part of the story. The next thing that has to happen is get back to that $12 level, and then we can get a little more excited about that.
Yeah, shout out to Kevin Mendoza. Shout out to Daryl Flynn. Shout out to everybody here that's putting some damage on the board, man. I mean, I know that there's a lot of traders out there that follow similar plans to what I'm doing there. So let's just keep it going, man. Keep good vibes only. Shout out to my guy Sharif over here for that one as well. We'll give some props up to everybody in the chat that keeps me going. So shout out to everybody there. 27 cents now back in the money here on CGC. Look, man, we could make this name something special. Just got to go. We do have Jolt's job openings coming up right now. Let's hold this on. It's going to be a hell of a green day here, but we do have some numbers coming through at 10 o'clock, so let's stay tuned. And again, position pending on CGC. I have no idea. I mean, if this can go, we'd have a green day, but on the name. Let's see if CGC wants to get going now. 40 cents in the money if we could take this $12 level. What's up, Adara?
NYCB getting its highest volume candle of the session so far for New York Community Bank Corp. This is another name that reported this morning. They missed across the board, but they did provide higher than expected earnings per share guidance for 2025 and 2026. So the market reacting positively to that guidance, up over 21% or almost 21% here, guys.
Now, the number of double digits are pretty nasty here today. You know what? I was just about to rebid CGC, but new plan. Only bid it after it shows a bounce, not while it's coming back into the downside, because it got right up to the 12. I got some out at 92, and it's right back in lows. Let's see it bounce off the low first and show me some strength. NIO continues, NEO continues to go. So that one hit enter twice there. Just made a fresh high. I was able to add on the way up. Someone yesterday was like, why don't you guys ever average up? You only ever seem to average down. Well, there's a case where the next thing that happened wasn't to pull back into VWAP at $5 like I was anticipating. So if I wanted more shares, it made the same bottom at 5, and instead of being able to get sevens like I had the last time. I took some more at 8.5. I actually got a bats midpoint there. So my average price is going to be 8. It's right back up at that top. So looking for this to continue going. CGC is the one that's going to be in trouble. Like if I'm red today, or red stock today, it's going to be CGC as it's running those lows one more time, unfortunately. AMD, we haven't really traded at all. I don't have my bid at 45 anymore. I'll let it travel down there if it wants to, and then see what's up when it gets to that 45 level. Still no shot at the 154. It's just not going far enough. So both longs that we're still in are both working, but it's CGC that's been the huge disappointment, because if I rebid it at that price, all I do is lose more there. But I stopped out when it took that low. Always going to adhere to the stop. Got to get away from it. It's trending down, so do not want to be fighting this all morning long.
We were lucky enough to get some out there at 12 when we were just talking about that. So we have a 90 fill and a 98 fill as well. But there it does take that bottom. So we'll give CGC up, and yeah, we will slap a fail on it. But you know what? I mean, honestly, we don't have CGC written on our sticky note, but we'll trade action, and that's what we're doing. But look at these couple fills that we just got here. I guess not enough, I don't know, love for Amazon, I guess. I mean, we've been shorting this name all day and putting up numbers on this. So I hope you guys are looking at some Amazon, because for me, it's really the only thing that's been setting up. And I think that that's exactly the way that many of you are looking to trade, looking for, and we talked about this, more shares, best opportunities, and if we lose on them, we lose on them. And I'm fine with that too. But 170 right now holding up for Apple. Apple's not going down here today. So I wanted the bump up to 172 based on SBUX information there today, because I thought, you know, weaker China, weaker Apple coming tomorrow night after market, lots of stuff happening, but it's not really giving me that reaction that StarBucks was off the open. Apple actually going the other way. So debating changing our position on Apple to potentially a long, but letting it settle down, and it's only 10 o'clock. We should have numbers coming out now, right?
It jolts right now.
Yeah, so I don't see it yet. We can go over to Adara and get that number.
Just got jolts here, 8.48 million, lower than the consensus of 8.69 million and forecast of 8.7 million. So jolts job openings lower than expected. Also lower than expected is ISM manufacturing PMI 49.2 versus consensus of 50, forecast of 49.9. Among the other numbers here, we've got some other ISM manufacturing new orders, also lower than expected, and manufacturing prices, ISM higher than expected, 60.9 versus consensus of 55 and forecast of 53. So a lot of these major numbers, though, coming in lower than the consensus and forecast. Bit of a move down here on the SPY with a slight uptick in volume here on the S&P 500. Earnings names really the theme of the day here, but of course we have to keep an eye on the FOMC meeting coming up at 2 with comments from Fed Chair Powell at 2:30 with that press conference. Other names to keep an eye on here, Pfizer initially holding up pretty well, falling down a little bit here, still up about 3% though on a earnings beat despite weaker than expected FY24 revenue forecasts. And also Pinterest, another earnings name here, up 16%, strong across the board here with an earnings beat and higher than expected revenue forecast for Q2, guys.
Yeah, I actually just canceled Pinterest 37 because I can show you Pinterest here. It broke the pre-market low by pennies and then held a higher low as well. So Pin's holding up nicely, but there's no gap fill whatsoever. We wanted to see the market come in before we traded it, unless it was down at the 37 level. So you're seeing it hold VWAP in here. That's 38.75 is that local bottom. If it breaks back above 39, I'd look for long. So I have to hold this low, break back above 39. That's a VWAP hold that I'll like. Just looking for a trading setup. It could have been a dip buy, but obviously that's not going to come into play on pins. I pretty much would never trade this unless it's going to be earnings. This is your chance. Like, it's got some room, and it was the outsized move of this earnings session. CGC made a fresh low. We're out of that one. Nvidia is still going down, and it looks like SMCI does want that low of the day. It's not there yet, but SMCI, sorry, not the low of the day. I mean the low from last week.
Volta's like, yeah, I know we got that dollar club, but we didn't mean to hit that one right there. But the thing is, my dollar club one is where it says page 1. So I try to go back to the other page.
Mine is go.
Yeah, I would probably have to change that because I do have an empty space. But there goes Amazon regardless, so we will hit that. Hot dog damn cannon. And by the way, new position alert. Let's go. Let's props it up and see if we can get going now on advanced micro devices. Let's go, man. This is a day changer for me. If this can go, this is a day changer. We're saying that because It's starting to go right now, and we are now 50 cents in the money. And the reason why I mean by day changer, this is coming out of nowhere. We just nailed it right here. That's a big move for you. We're going to go deuces today, man. 2 for 2. AMD and Amazon buying that 147. We are long at 147.04 here, Neil. Good little bottom pick right there. Neil, it's another dollar club for you, baby. Right there. There it goes to the upside. It is 148.10 and still counting. It's in the building one more time, and that's what we're talking about. Props it up there today. Good day today, Neil. Let's go as we props that up. That was a good trade off of 147.
If it doesn't give you the level you want,
go.
you've got to find a different trade.
That's right,
I would have
baby.
said that before. Like, it didn't
we're
give you that
here.
145, but you got to find something else. That's why, well, okay, never mind. I just got into Pinterest. But that's the entire reason I'm long Pinterest $2 higher than what I was anticipating. Because at the end of the day, you can trade what you want to happen or you can trade what's in there. Maybe that'll be the case with SMCI as well. But for the SSR play, I think it's very specific. Like, I don't want to just jump into this thing, especially SMCI willy-nilly. You guys know what this stock can do to you, so just to give you an idea of what's about to happen on SMCI. It's breaking the lows, so I think you're about to test down here at that 720 level. From there, the only other spot would be $680. I know that seems ridiculous, but SMCI can absolutely move $40 if it breaks this low. And if you don't understand that, then trust me, you don't have to trust me, just look at the stock. It is that volatile, so you want to be able to respect it. I'm looking for this bottom break to fail. If it breaks 720 and then can regain that level, I'd look for a rebound long on any kind of a higher low. So pins is the only new thing. Neo's at 2s, I'm at 7s. I want to bounce off VWAP before I would add anything. And we're probably going to stick a fork in Nvidia. I moved to 850 after 860 wouldn't give me the fills. You're still making lower lows here on Nvidia. Yeah, you're still failing on this bad boy. And maybe, so this was me trying to get Intel short. Yeah, okay, that's fine, I missed it. A couple cents. But it might make that $30 move. And if it does break 30, I'm going to be in it for a breakdown trade, but that'll have meant I failed to get it somewhere else, like VWAP. So VWAP's here at 30.30. I have to take a swing at this. The pattern's been way too good, shorting lower highs on this stock, at least into the $30 level. But that's a break that I won't ignore either.
I mean, Amazon now $2 in the money, you know. Amazon $2 in the money, AMD $1 in the money. So we'll just keep this going, man. I mean, I like that little bounce off there. We talked about buying dips in AMD, loving those levels, finding support levels. My trading style is so simple, it's almost stupid. So that's the thing, like, but when it works, we talk about this, it's one of those acronyms, I think, is acronym the right thing? Keep it simple, stupid, and honestly, like, that's exactly what we've been doing. Look at the demeanor. You know, it's chilled out right now. We know where we are. We've hit the goals. We just had the best month, whatever. We've already talked about that. And look what AMD just did for us as we sit back and relax. It's for you, Kyle Burdett, right there. Now we're $2 in the money on the only 2 names today. The problem is we lost on CGC. Problem, yes, but problem not really. Amazon right there, and Amazon and AMD. 2 names here on the sticky note that there's only 5 names on here, and one of them's DJT, one of them's Apple, one of them's Tesla. We're into the 2 names that we want, and they're both $2 in the money there. So that's the thing. Like Neil said, man, stick to your plan. It's just we're giving the plan away right here and following it every single day. So make sure you go check that out at Trader TV, Sean. It's the sticky note. It's available every single day. And thank you so much, Nelson, for your kind words, man. It does really mean a lot on that DM. So thank you, Nelson.
Yeah, I appreciate you there. And you know what? We just talked about like finding new entry points and trying to keep it simple. So pins, high or low. It broke above 39. I'm long 39. It's actually, I got a midpoint. So on that break order, shout out to Edge A Stops. I was able to get 39.5 or 39.0 half. So I'm not even long at the 1 cent. My stop is at 25. It goes into the 25 level at 1-to-1. I take some out. If it goes to the 50, I take some out, and then just look for the push up to like $40 even on Pinterest. It's already up 17%, but it's also, I think, the only outsized earnings move upside today. I'm pretty sure about that. There might have been something else that maybe we just didn't pay attention to. The other one is the SSR bounce play, which is a very simple setup. There's your wick bottom, holds $5. There's your higher low on actual, like this one, I don't know if you can get that, but holding the pre-market low here, long 20s, stop, and then we're just taking it stair step to the upside on that one. NEO just bounced off 5. I'm long at 506. I do want some shorts. I don't want to only be long when the market's coming down, but at some point, like I'm stopping chasing something like Intel. Like I tried getting short here, I didn't get it. I can cancel that. Now I'm trying to short it off of VWAP as well. So it's got to make sense, right? Like if I'm short here, I can stop it out at 35 for less than a 10-cent loss on Intel. You have the support at 30 even. That's 25 cents away. I think that makes sense. If it's 25 cents worth of room to a monster level, then you short it risking 10. If you risk 30 cents on Intel when 1% is 30 cents, you're probably going to get yourself into a little bit of trouble there.
All right, well, Trouble's a name that we found in CGC was Trouble, but I just want to say a big shout out to everybody that's in the chat, man. All of your nice comments here, and I just put it into our chat. See, I copied this, Sam. So I put this into our group chat. The fact that, we're making you guys smile every single day, all we ask for is one very, very simple thing. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Let's get to that 450K on that one. And I just want to say thank you to everybody for the continued support, man. And honestly, everybody, you could see our positions, you could see what we're doing, you could see everything, and I think that that's the important thing, but you still have to be able to identify opportunities and take them where they lie, right? Like, for some reason there, went up to the 200 period on AMD and we got out. So now we only have 10% left. A bunch of outs. These are probably all about 10%. Those are the tranches I use. I don't really know why. I'm trying to get better on that, but the fact that we have that right there at 148.70 off of a 147 fill. I mean, my stop was this wick right there. So right now, we'll take this position long AMD 147.04 against a bottom of 20 or 30 cents lower. We just took $1.70. If this comes back in, we do only have that 10%. When we start to rip up and it starts to get excited like that, I am going to take profit like ASAP because, like I said, you can always look down and the judge is right there. So that's the whole point. You can see where you are, and if you know if what you're doing has been working. So Amazon short is killing it. Yeah, I mean, yeah. This Amazon short, I didn't hear anybody talking short earlier today. We had some key levels way up, but we stepped out, man, and this is the thing. We talked about this. It is your trade idea, Neil. Number one today for @TraderTV Sean. We all have different trade ideas. You can write them down and look at this. But, fortune favors the bold, and we put our exact levels on here for numerous days in a row. Here's 181 short sell. I mean, this is what we wrote it. We're going to fade it to the 183. I mean, this is, honestly, I don't know. I don't know, Neil. What do you think of this Amazon trade?
Sorry, give me a quick second. Just want to make sure I have a stop order.
All right, you can analyze that after. But here it is, man. Amazon right now, guys. We are now $3 in the money on this trade. I mean, this is trade idea number one today on the sticky note. $3. It's one trade. Not only that, we had it early, but we also had it 4 more times. So it's not like, oh my God, this is a lucky trade or anything like that. No. This is what happens when you put in the work and you know what you're doing is working. So Amazon right there, Neil, I mean, that was a monster here into earnings. We love earnings season, and Amazon just does that too. So I don't know what Obi's doing. Maybe he's on Amazon today, but we can find that out later.
I actually was talking to Obi. Google was his thing of the week, and I think he had a great read on Google, but that's another story because it was earnings as well. It was post-earnings play. I think he'll like Amazon. In addition, I would have to move some stops around as things go higher. Once I'm in trail mode on a stock where I like to use trailing stops, it's already given me 2 profit takes. Sorry about the wick on Pinterest, it won't go. So it's hard to look at this, but if you got the 39 break, if it's underneath VWAP, I'm just moving my stop from underneath here to underneath there. So essentially a break-even stop because it's already gone 39 into 39.5 on pin. So again, it's an earnings play. I thought it was going to be a dip into 37, but I wanted to be long on any trend up because it was an outsized move on pin. So this is it trying to go. If you break out the top, I want the 40 level into the upside. It's just trying to keep it relatively simple there. We still have some Chegg. Starbucks, I thought was going to be a little bit more of a story. Unfortunately, there was nothing into the 80 level to try to get that short. It's still trending down. I don't want this short at the bottom because I feel like it's too exciting of a name to short the lows when it's SSR. So I'd rather be waiting for a chance at a bounce play in Starbucks as opposed to looking short. 71's the only bid that I wanted, so I'll have to wait for like an even dollar level to hold. I'll take any of them at 74, 72. Tesla, I know a lot of people are looking at Tesla on the fade. Again, if you like the levels that I was pointing out, it had to be up here at afternoon resistance at 86, and you're just not going to see that one come in, unfortunately. NEO's at ones. We went back into NIO, so I mean CGC didn't go well. We scalped some out NEOs in 11s, 12s, and 13s. I've just reloaded off the bid, but if this can't hold on to VWAP, then I'm getting out because the gap fills 480 that we originally liked the long, so I'm not holding it underneath VWAP. Again, always have yourself a stop. That's the only way that you can ever trade. I mean, you can trade without a stop if you want to. I just think it's ridiculous. Chegg, still trying to get the next fill. I'm actually on the offer like a cent from here, so we'll get that fill, but that's been pretty easy. Like there's your bounce, there's your consolidation. It was like the first long that we just kind of casually took, and you're kind of getting it to grind a little bit higher. So I like the easiness of that trade. Like you know your stop's underneath there, and it's just stair-stepping it into the upside. Not a great stock, but certainly a solid move here for Chegg. Just got the offer now. So you make 25 cents, you're risking 10 on the trade. Next level up where I'm all out is at 540. And I knew I forgot to do something. I was going to double check to make sure I paid for CGC locates because I said I was going to.
I'm just going to tweet this out. I mean, again, this Amazon, it's only 10:14 right now, but pretty good day here so far. I was going to get this out here, but why not lower? Why not lower? All right, so AMD. So look, the top two P&L stocks today, obviously it's not close. It's going to be Amazon and AMD. But the idea here is for AMD, I got out. It broke that level right where we were. It does wick all the way down there to 146.50. We get out there at 85, whatever that looks like 86 is or so. So again, we'll take a 14, 15 cent hit there on the last piece, but it does come out. And like I said, you follow your plan, then you put that money in there. So PL 1 and 2 here are both Amazon and AMD, both directly, ideas and names that we knew we wanted to look at. The thing about Tesla is, again, with confidence, we spoke about these levels earlier, but it just, like Neil mentioned, didn't get there. Got there pretty early. We were waiting at 185. We did not get that 185 fill. We said that, talked about in the pre-market, it's still there right now. It got as high as 184.20s or so, 184.14s. So does not get to that, and now Tesla is on the way down. But again, this is the thing that I'm trying to change about everything. It's not just, you don't necessarily have to get, you have to get the name and the direction right, and obviously, I mean, come on, we've been doing that. But the idea here is that we wrote down Tesla. Yesterday, it was PL1. The day before that, I think it was P&L number 1 as well. And we put it back on there today, but we favored the short, so again, we're gonna go. Looking to see if we break that level from the afternoon, fading this name until it proves me wrong. So I just didn't, we followed our plan. We knew we wanted to fade this name, but it just didn't come into the level. So we'll sit on the fail here with CGC, but then we will battle back with vengeance on both AMD and Amazon. And yeah, so this is what we're doing right now. And that's what it is. And you're right, pro day trader. I mean, this is what we do. We talk about coming in early, coming in late, doing whatever. At the end of the day, this is all that matters. Are you putting in the work that shows the results? If you're putting in the work and it's showing you results, then that's what you do. You know, I don't mind if my daughter wakes up twice a week at 5:30 and is on the ice at 6 o'clock. She loves it and the results. Okay? If you're putting in tons of work and the results aren't there, perhaps you're working inefficiently, potentially you're digging for something, and eventually you may find it, eventually you may not. But stick with your plan and try to keep it as simple as possible. There's a lot of people that put in too much work and get no results. So be careful with all of that. Do not overthink some of trading. It could be a lot simpler than you think. Okay, if it was easy, 98% wouldn't fail.
No, that's entirely the truth. But I would say, like, if you're putting in work when you start out, the reality is you will put in work without results sometimes at the beginning. And that's for every single trader that starts out. If you get frustrated, I'll tell you candidly, the simulator wasn't what it is now when I started. I was in the simulator for 1.5 days because back then the simulator didn't give you, and this is 20 years ago, it didn't give you a good sense of actual fills, so you had to go live. And I was like shut down like 7 days in a row. It was small shutdowns back in the day when you start out, but I was shut down like 7 days in a row, so I'm trying to figure things out. But I was testing things at that moment, and you had to be able to sort of sift through that. But every now and then, you're going to find something that works. You want to make sure you stick to strategies that work. One of the simplest things that I can tell you is don't fight the trend. So Pinterest, I'm out of Pinterest. You'll see that one's come out. So here's pins. It did not give me the level I wanted. We said we'd look for longs. It never gave 37s. Fabian, if we can come to the chart for a quick sec. Thanks, bud. Yeah, it was that wick bottom at 38. I thought we'd see 37. That was a higher level. But how many times where I'm looking for a long trade, and then the first thing I see is, okay, well, if it trends up, do I get the long off of VWAP? It happened last week with Snapchat. It happened like 3 separate times with Alibaba last week. Pinterest is an earnings play. It gives you 39 to 40 with about 20 cents worth of risk. So again, it's just about finding something that makes sense to you. Chegg is going to continue to hold. I'm now short one thing, and it's obviously Intel. So as the market's trying to make a bit of a base, this is more of a VWAP play in the other direction where the stock is trending down. And I just want to fade it. So we're fading in here, giving it to like 30, just the low 30s. So first fill just came in at 22s. Again, I don't want to be short a price that's more than 10 cents away from my out. Not on Intel. If it's like AMD, like that stock, you're not going to have a 10-cent stop on an AMD, but it's not a $30 stock. AMD is going to be a little bit more expensive, so you got to think relative risk to reward anytime you're trading. D. Westermeyer, it's a good point. How does it feel to be successful at something 98% of people fail at? To me, just incredible gratitude. Like I think, it's the kind of thing that some people, it's like you might feel differently about it, but like I feel like a humility about it, and I feel very, very gracious towards all the people. Like I learned so much over the years from so many people. I had a 5-minute conversation with Obi, maybe like a 10-minute conversation with Obi yesterday, where he was discussing one of his ideas, and it actually taught me something, and then I was using that for you guys in the lesson of the day. Like my lesson of the day was actually something I was already thinking about it, and then I really figured it out when I had a 5-minute discussion with Obi, and I've been trading a lot longer than he has, but that doesn't mean I can't pick something up from him. It's already 10:20, and we're going to get to the small cap recap in a quick second, but I got to get on over to this Chegg, which is starting to pull back. The thing about an SSR name is it's a heaping you-know-what, so you never want it to pull all the way back in, and I said I was moving a stop, and I actually haven't done that yet. It hit the second leg up, so now underneath VWAP 525, or more like 524 is going to be my out there. So just trust your process, follow that process. But at the end of the day, the market can change on you in a heartbeat. You want to make sure that you're learning from it every single chance that you get. Let's go to Adair for the small cap recap.
IWM taking a bit of a stair step to the downside here. Russell 2000, pretty weak, but definitely a few small cap earnings to talk about, a lot of which are going to be earnings related. We do have New Gold, this Canadian company actually here, NGD, up about 12% on an earnings beat, so keep an eye on this one. Next up, we have CytomX Therapeutics, CTMX, the ticker for this one, announcing their first quarter earnings results and their phase 1 clinical data for one of their treatments going to be on May 8th, so we'll have those earnings in a week. CTMX to the upside on that announcement. Last but not least, New York Community Bancorp, NYCB, missing earnings across the board here, providing higher than expected EPS forecast for 2025 and 2026, up about 21%. NYCB, guys.
Yuck, NYCB. I mean, yuck to Nvidia here. Oh my goodness, Nvidia tagged 830. Wow. So, yeah, I mean, the short was right, but I didn't actually get it. I liked 860. I didn't make the move to 850 being my level until a little bit later. And you would have had an opportunity to get it. VWAP, I suppose, is going to be a new thing. SMCI, no, it's still trying to put it. So there's that 720 fail break on SMCI. And here's the higher low. So this is like a thread the needle kind of thing because I don't think I don't want to risk, if VWAP's up here at 744, that's $15 away. And if you think you're risking $5 in SMCI and resistance is $15 away, I do want to thread the needle here because closer to 720 would be the better way to play this because if my stop's at 720, I can't be long 720. I don't want to be long 728 and be like, I'm not wrong till 720. I just feel like that's a little bit too far away. So if we can hold a bid above that, I'll look for the SSR bounce in SMCI. Oddly enough, possibly catching a bid here.
Okay, Serenity now. All right. I did it again. Shout out to Brittany. But this time, it was a whoops. We made the bottom. Yesterday, we made the top in Nvidia and had not a record day, but one of our better days of the month while making the top in Nvidia. CGC, congratulations for all the traders out there, because Weed Batman has been back in the building and he found his Robin because right now CGC is going back up to the upside. We made the bottom. So there it is. And that's going to happen. And like I said, we're having already a good day, but if that doesn't happen, then it's good day times 2. And that's part of it. That's part of trading. Like you said, and you guys are welcome, man. It is great for us to share our experiences with you, and that's why we do it, man. That was the whole point of the show, was to give you guys another look at what happens on a trading floor and to talk as real as we can to you. And this is, how real is this? I mean, we'll talk all the time. Oh, man, great trade. We're $3 in the money on Amazon, yada, yada. But we lost on this trade. That sucked. And there it is right there to talk about it. The bottom of the day. Yesterday, I punched long, got out of my 886 or 885 short at like 887.50 on Nvidia. The high of the day was like 887 and change. So you're going to sometimes make these plays and sometimes, get hit, whether or not it's a CGC, a name that we don't normally trade, or whether or not it's a name that you trade all the time. Like my Amazon, I could have gotten taken out of that. If this goes basically, if this goes 50 more cents, we don't have this trade. But it doesn't. Comes back in and you hit it. But that's where I went to before I started that rant about luck and about, putting in the hard work. It's you can put in all the work you want. You still need to get that fade happening there at 182.50 because sometimes what you think is about to happen is not. So see Tesla for earnings.
I'm not going to trade SMCI.
Well, only trade it if you think. Yesterday it was $50 spread.
I'm watching the spread and how it looks like even to get filled at a reasonable entry point, you have to use the dark pool. It's either you're hitting the offer. Sorry, I just hit this. We have all kinds of stuff. I just hit my hand on this little. Oh no, it's shaking it. No, but you have this massive spread, and then all of the fills are coming off in the dark in the middle, or you're just having to cross the spread, which is not an ideal entry point. It would almost have to break 20, because if it broke 20 and you get it on the way back up, at least you could hit 20 on the way back up, as opposed to trying to finagle away in here in the middle, and then just instantly be giving up a couple of dollars. That skews everything if you're trying to risk 5 and you instantly give up an extra 2 just to get into position. So I'm just gonna stay away from it for now. If I see it break and fail break and you can punch in 20s and then just throw a stop at 17 or something, that's much different because then you're getting the price that you want the way that you want it, which is very, very different. Baba's at VWAP. I'm not. I like Alibaba. I'd like Alibaba a lot if it could just get to $78 already.
Oh, baby.
That's what needs to happen. Yep. The 78, I think, is going to be a massive break. Look, it might never break $78, but if it does break this top, I'm almost, as long as I'm here, I'm going to be long on this break on Alibaba. If I'm not here that day, then that's the reason I didn't get the long on the break. Anything can happen. No, it's just there's no chance. Yeah, it's once,
all you can
twice,
do is sit there.
3, 4. If you count this week, 5 times at this level, and now it's put in a higher low, and it's above the 50 period. I know they report soon. I'll have to double check when that is.
Yeah, we love Alibaba. You guys know that we've been talking about that one. That's why I hit that podcast, man. We've been talking Alibaba for months. We like that name. I thought it was well valued down there in and around $71 base technically wise. But when you're talking value, there's always that China story behind it. So you're going to have to, obviously, as me and Neil sit here and talk, you never know with election year and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see what happens. We do have a new position, which is why I hit this. I don't know. I want to be short Tesla. We have the 200 period right here. We had missed this whole move down. So we're just going to wait. I think don't I have more shorts up here somewhere for Tesla? Oh, this is not sorted alphabetically. That's why. Okay, there it is. 180.75. Okay, well, there it is. A break here. I got to change this. This is going up a little bit too fast here. We don't have so many shares, but I am going to change the stop on Tesla because it's really ripping here. The market is starting to take out some levels. So I'm going to go to 181, like 20s or so for the stop there. And look what just happened. Oh, man. Oh, man, oh, man. Let's see what happens here with Tesla if it does pull back. We just shorted 181. It's at 180.50. Our average price is 75. Let's take a bid out there at 55, 56 is there, or whatever I just got filled on, 58s. And now we'll see if it comes back in again there. But there we go. Can we hit this? Just, oh, man. Come on, Neil, let's go. This is what we're talking about again here today. We'll go bearish on a Tesla trade right there up to the 200 period. And like we said, when you see stuff, you see stuff. And right now the board is pretty clear right there. Nice move there. Unlike the Maple Leafs yesterday, giving the Katina household a little heart attack. But, you know, we watched, we hung out there. My daughter wanted to stay up for overtime. We put her to bed. She's 9. My son was watching as well, and we sat there and we watched that overtime goal. Thank God it was in the first 3 minutes. Bang, 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 bang for Tesla right there. That's another 60 cents, man. We on one, but if this breaks through 180, we off one. Let me put one more bid out here into the 40s, take a piece out, and yeah, just enjoy a boom reloaded coffee right there, brought to you by many more booming trades. So Metro booming, some might say. Neil?
Metro booming? You know when you do the new songs with me, like my response is going to be like, okay, fine. Like Metro booming, I've actually heard. We're going to get to crypto, but the SMCI actually broke 720, so the ladder of it going to be in play. Once 20's on the bid again, I'll probably going to get back into it. Come on, SMCI. I just tried to punch and did not get filled on that one. This is exactly the problem with SMCI. I told you this was the issue with SMCI. I just tried to cross the spread and didn't get it. It was back through that 720 level. Throw the stop at 717. If I get picked back up, then we'll be able to get back into it. So you got to focus on, that's annoying. I'm just going to sit on the bid 720. That's the risk I want. If we get it, we get it. My stop's at 17. It's already going to be in place. But that was the only way I wanted to get it. I didn't want to have to cross the spread in front. I wanted to be able to get it at the actual $20 level. So the SSR bounce play is on for me in SMCI. I think it's worth the risk. Understand that on this stock, it makes a fresh low. You're talking about under 16. So whether it's $3, $5, $10, have your own out. I think SMCI can, if it goes back up, I think VWAP's here at 40. And that's going to be the target. First level up is $730. So I definitely get something out in front of that. So let's see. I think it's obviously a volatile stock with a trend down, but it's a setup that I like. And SMCI is not going to be down 10% every single day.
Adara?
Bitcoin in continued movement to the downside, recorded its worst month since late 2022 for the month of April with that move to the downside. So now currently below the 60,000 level. So interesting to note that we did have our worst month in over a year for BTC for April 2024. Also worth noting, crypto earnings continue to be on watch here. MSGR reported Monday after close. This morning before our open, we got Riot Platforms, which reported a surprise profit. And we also have Coinbase tomorrow after close. So crypto earnings continuing to be on watch here for the rest of the week. We also have Bitcoin itself here. This is the daily chart falling below that 58,000 level, continuing to make moves from that big move downside yesterday and falling below that support that we had for a little bit at that 61,000 level there. So Bitcoin down 5.5%. Ethereum now below that 2,900 level, down 3 2/3%. And pretty weak across the board here for a lot of these crypto-related names. Solana down 4.5%. Dogecoin down 8%. But Cardano actually doing well here, up 1.7%, guys.
Cardano up?
Yeah. Cardano's up? That's weird because I thought we were like destroyed on crypto. Okay.
You know, All right. Yeah, no, I'm just playing around. Yeah, those stocks have been destroyed. But yeah, good to hear about Cardano. I told Adara she's only supposed to say stories when it's positive, but we are just playing
Really,
around
though?
there. No, not really though, of course, Neil. That's,
No, obviously, I know you're joking about
Yep,
it.
exactly.
But,
So, all right, I don't know. Yeah, Tesla, again, bouncing off that 180. I just want to talk about it because it's a key level there. I still think we can get lower, but if you guys want to keep taking profit down there, would be fine by me. I think that's a good level. We've bounced off there a couple times. We've taken a couple outs. If this breaks higher than 181.20, I think we put in, we're out, but we only have 25% left of this position. So this was a real quick one, man. If the market was trending one way or the other, then I would change my opinion. But I mean, what am I supposed to do? You know, we have the under VWAP. If it wants to continue to go, we're still in 25% of Tesla. So good. But if it breaks higher because it's not doing anything, then fine on that. That's the only two trades that we have on. We have Amazon, which has been, like I said, absolutely the best for me. Well, actually, Amazon and AMD aren't too far apart, to be honest with you, P&L wise. But so far, so good here as we just continue to watch out for Tesla, my newest trade. Could be in trouble here up to 181. Market not doing anything, and they've already had that big move. I'm definitely like pushing the envelope here. It's not the best setup, but we've made money on it, and we're holding some for maybe a potential flush into that 179.50. If we can get that, we'll take some off.
Yeah, this could be one where if I broke my rules, it might have worked, but I risked a little less than a good Nvidia break. But still, SMCI, I liked it. Ugh. We took our shot at it. It did not hold the level, but I feel like if you're like, there's no chance you're not going to be able to get a move like that unless you try that bid on the way. I looked for it to make a low. It actually made a low. We got back in pretty much at the price we wanted. It wasn't exactly 720, but I did get it tight enough to the 720 level. But again, it's just about risk to reward. I look at what Nvidia is usually going to be able to give me. I think these are on about the same level, so we risk that. If it goes higher and I don't have it, then I can live with that. Because at the end of the day, like, I want to treat like and like. Like SMCI, I've traded now SMCI 4 times. This is a different setup from the 3 times that I had it before. Like, the other trades I've had on SMCI have all been very similar, and they were shorting it on a trend down at VWAP, and they were all fantastic, but it's a very different trade from an SSR bounce play, which I consider it a bit of a gimmick trade. I look for the lower high, and I stop out if it breaks that lower high that it put in, because the stock is down 10% for a reason. So we will take a hit on it. I'll be 3 for 4 on SMCI, but when I grade it, I'm not grading it versus the other SMCI trades because it was nothing like it. Those times I was shorting SMCI when it was weak. Today I was trying to go long when it was weak. So that's in its own bucket. Now maybe I don't like SMCI and SSR bounces because if it goes to 740, that's great, but I would have had to hold it in a way that I would never do so. Like, those bounce plays to me are supposed to look like this on Chegg. Break, higher low, hold it clean, and then go. It was the same thing when we looked at SoFi the other day. You want to get down to the bottom. Come on, SoFi. There you go. You want to get down to the bottom, hold the low.
Let's go Tesla.
There's it holding the low. There's the higher low, and then it goes. When it breaks down, that's the violation of the rule. So if you lose and you stick to your rules, then that's fine. But if you break your rules and win, then all that's going to happen is you're going to reinforce what I think is bad behavior. So I always try to, it's going to go there. I'm not going to get FOMO if it goes to 740. I've made plenty of bottom wicks in my time. If that's the case on SMCI, I felt like it was the biggest opportunity for a move because I was thinking first out, $10, second out, 20 to 25 bucks on SMCI. So if we end up taking a $4 hit, I don't think, I said that within $5 would be reasonable, and we ended up with a $4 hit on it. So I think that was pretty reasonable.
Yeah, exactly. And at the end of the day, like we said, we don't show P&L, but you can just look down and judge if it's reasonable or not. We talk about the goals, the limits. You never want to make your, a bad trade your last one. And that's why we try to get out as much as we possibly can. And then on that note here, Tesla is now, Sharif, now we're short. We're in another dollar. We're short $1.30 here in the money as there goes Tesla right back in. I know you guys can see these kind of trades, man, and you can see what I'm putting on the board for you every day. This is, again, so Sticky Notes so far today goes 3 for 3 with the ideas, and we're still rocking here. So just keep it up, man. Keep up the good vibes. Keep everything going. Look at this move look at this move right there on Tesla. It's right back in there. We don't need to justify it. We already did that. We give you the trades before they happen. That's the idea. And then when they do happen, we can cash out on them. There's Tesla, there's the short, there's the 200 period moving average. We said we were gonna hold something for the dream. So that's what we did. And there it is again, right there. It's going to be another very green day. And shout out to, I said this yesterday, Dookie. Right there, that went over at Dara's head because she's too young. But
See, but Dookie means something completely different to me than it does to you because I've seen The Wire. Dookie is one of the.
But do you know the Nvidia album?
Okay, well
Or the Green Day album?
Okay, so look. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm not really
So
good
no.
with rock albums.
Yeah,
I
that's
know
fine.
it's
I'm
only
just-
because like Zayn has talked about it. So I know of it, but let's be real. I'm not a connoisseur of Green Day. I can't pretend to be, but I know of it. Dookie to me is Daquan, and if you watch. It's a sad story, but he's one of the best characters in The Wire. And you know what's really cool? When I was just complaining about midpoint fills, I think another real trading trader was actually watching and suggested a different order type, which I'm setting up now, which I didn't even realize.
Boom.
Yeah, that's what I love about the community. Like, I was sitting there like, oh man, like you got to get these midpoints and blah, 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 and I'm not getting filled. And he said, well, try this one. We have like a million different gateways that we can use. In terms of getting access to dark pools, there's so many that we have at Real Trading, and all you can do is try to get those fills. And they can be advantageous sometimes, because if you can save yourself, even on SMCI there, if you save yourself 60, 70 cents cutting the spread instead of whatever it might be, then over time, if you trade it 5 times, if I stop out for $4 there, 5 trades on that, you're essentially making back one losing trade. And someone said, Neil, have diamond hands. I'm like, no, I told you my exact plan there. 720 back in long, stop underneath 717. That was my plan of action. It broke 720 down. I got long back up through 720. I threw my stop back in. Even if it would have worked if I just hold it past my stop, that doesn't matter. You can't really trade like that. You're just going to find yourself in some trouble. In the long run, it's all about the long run. Let's go over to Sector Watch with Adara.
Sure, but it's almost over.
Yeah.
Technology services leading this market to the upside from the looks of it if we just look at things on a sector basis. Couple red names here, but Meta, Oracle, Microsoft, and Google all very strong. In terms of weakness, electronic technology certainly showing some, with AMD's lower than expected revenue forecast bringing some of this group to the downside here. Nvidia and Broadcom definitely feeling the effects to the downside. Other weak sectors include producer manufacturing, energy minerals to the downside here, health technology a bit weaker, and also transportation, despite some strength in Uber here. Retail trade also a little bit more mixed to weak, despite strength from Amazon off of those earnings. Consumer non-durables also a little bit more mixed to weak. And also worth noting, consumer services, we do have McDonald's day 2 earnings to the downside, but Starbucks worth watching here. That was a pretty big earnings miss, and that one very red compared to its peers in consumer services, guys.
Yeah, Starbucks. We do have some more earnings coming through. Look at CGC right now. I mean, you know, we could say like, oh man, we got out too early there, but this was okay. All the way back in right now for CGC, down now 30% or 27% and trying to get lower. You know, I mean, we are now $1, like Tesla's starting to get lower here. So again, just try to, oh, I forgot to do something today that I needed to do. Okay, we'll get that figured out later. But I just want to hold. I want to hold into the Fed. I said that we'd have some hawkish feels for the Fed right now. I may reload this Amazon. Amazon's been really the biggest one for me because we've been able to reload it. But right now we're back up to that 181 level that we looked at in the past. That we had written down. We were lucky enough to get 182. All the way to the upside. So I feel like this is a possible reload spot now, but the market could just hover around here, and Amazon on earnings is going to be a very dangerous play, as we've talked about a couple of times. Could get going one way or the other based on, you know, intraday upgrades or downgrades or something like that. But I'm not scared of it. We have our plan. We've already been short, and it's really paid off. So right now, PL1 Amazon, PL2 AMD, and then we just put Tesla on board right now. And I think, I don't know, I can look, but I think there's going to be another top stock here. So Tesla, so far so good here. It's 10:42. What everybody's here for has already been said in the chat, so let's run it. It's what's for lunch. All right, so we had some jerk chicken. Yesterday was some sausage and pierogies. Ooh, today, interesting. We'll see how this pans out. I mean, if you're trading today, then we know you have a bunch of these.
So.
Yeah, we're having wings at, we'll have a salad and then we'll have some wings at 2. The wings will come around like, I'm going to get them here for like between, 2 and 2:30. Powell will release the thing, then nothing will happen. Then I'll start eating some wings around like 2:15. We'll get all ready. We'll get all spiced up and ready to go for Powell that will be coming for Wing Wednesday. That will be happening live here at Trader TV Live immediately after 2 p.m. So join us for Fed Rate and join us for Wing Wednesday. Get your wings ready as well. Have them with us. Enjoy your Wing Wednesday. But on all of that, what is for lunch? With all this chicken talk, you would think it would be chicken today. And if you guessed chicken today, then you'd be right, man. We've got crispy fried chicken Parmesan. Potential with tri-colored parsley buttered fusilli. I think that's a good combo. Yeah, tri-colored. Get a little different colors in there. Although today we're just seeing dead red and dead green in the P&L, my guy. But right now that should be a good lunch. And yeah, it should be good. And then follow us up at 2:30 or 2:15 when it will be wing time. And I'm actually going to load up Uber Eats right now and double check this.
Yeah, it's close by, so it should be good. I mean, obviously, I'm going to save some room for the wings. I'm not stealing any of that Parmesan, whatever. I'll have my salad and leave some room for the chicken wings because I think that's where the bread is going to get buttered. I'm a huge wing fan. I want to just shout out everyone in the chat. I appreciate it. Mary, I almost said Marie. Mary, how do you pronounce it?
You said both, it's all good.
Neil always cools my FOMO. You have to find a way to be able to cool FOMO. Like you'll know, like you don't, like I'm not worked up over SMCI. I haven't even looked at it again. Like it could be at 7:30, it could be at 7:40. You make some bottom wicks, you make some top wicks. You make winning trades, you make losing trades, all that kind of good stuff. You just have to, again, you have to follow your plan. Neo's gonna hold the $5 level. I'll get there in a second. Trade All Trends just said Nvidia is a short now. So the thing about Nvidia, there we go, it's gonna go to Nvidia. It's at that VWAP retrace. You always have to find a different setup if you don't get the one that you want. Well, you don't have to. But if you're looking for a short in a stock and it doesn't give you the price that you want, you are looking for something different. I have 850 marked off. It just did one dip at VWAP. My issue with it is look how strong this just came into VWAP. Show me some real, I want to see some actual weakness underneath here. I don't like stepping out in front of Nvidia when it's made that kind of a bottom. I think that gets a little bit nasty. I'm still in half of NIO looking for a break of that top. I'm still in the short in Intel because I think Intel is in a different bucket from Nvidia. I don't want to like just because I think Nvidia looks strong doesn't mean I think Intel should be as strong. And you know what? Like maybe you hold on to that SMCI and make a $4 winner. But risk to reward, I don't think that's any good. It's still trending down. Look at the difference between SMCI and Nvidia today. That's why I'm not short Nvidia at VWAP. It's just a little bit stronger, but that's just a judgment call. AMD is also looking a little bit weak. It's hugging VWAP pretty decently here as well. Surprisingly quiet. You just saw Nvidia with like 1 million green candles in a row off the low. In that time, AMD is like $1 range inside. So I'm going to stick to what I think is a stair step down, and that's going to be Intel down 1% into a somewhat flat. I mean, the market's down 0.5%, but it was down more than that. If anything, I'm calling it inside day, which you can expect on a Fed day. So you got to be trading the right names. Before we get to, I know we're going to Adara. I have Pinterest. I want to get back into this thing. It's just going to have to be on a patience play.
It's all good, Dara. It's all good.
It just tagged 40. Oh, we're not right. Not just a second. It just tagged the $40 level. So instead of looking VWAP, I probably have to look elsewhere on pins. It was 39 to 40. 39.5 could come into play here. That's where resistance was early. But I'll have to look for another entry point that's not VWAP on Pinterest, as it's now up 20%. Only trade these things when they have earnings. That's when you can get those types of moves.
Here goes Tesla, and we're going to get stopped out. right there for Tesla. Well, still green on the name, of course, for Tesla. But yeah, the Wingstop, they will. There is a address close to here on Bloor Street, so that order is going to be placed between 2 and 2:30 delivery time right now for Wingstop. So get ready for that one. And no, I don't think anybody around here knows the Wingstop song. So
the Wingstop, there's a song. I didn't even
apparently
know
there is a song.
I actually didn't know there was a song. I'm sure it's probably just from the commercial, right? If they have a commercial.
I would assume it's from the commercial for sure.
I can probably look.
Yeah. All right. So that's that. Tesla out again. Breaks the 200 period. We talked about how the market was just sort of dancing around right here. So we're out of that one. The damage has been done everywhere. We are still $2 now, back in the money as this just bounced off of our level again of 181. We should have just taken that 180 and change, 179.80, something like that down there to the downside as well. So look at Meta. All right, let's look at Meta for a minute. So Meta, we've talked about this over and over again. There's one name I want to buy on dips, and it's Meta. So no surprise to me that we're up 1.5% today. We called the Amazon long off earnings. AMD has been a disaster. It's down, not too interested. I mean, we have traded AMD. It is PL2, so it's fine. But Meta up here, So the way I trade is I have to find a direction first. So looking at Meta here, looking at the market above VWAP. So I think the long is going to be right. So back in here into the 50 period against a VWAP of 43.33 isn't a horrible trade. You're going to have to hold that $2 probably. So there's 43, 435.50. A pull back in. Look how much we've liked the 50 period moving average. Meta is everything we thought it would be. And I think this goes back up to $500. All this market needs to do is get on its you-know-what again. And then this name rallies. Because you're going to come in one day, it's going to be at 470. And then you're there. So, I mean, that's what's going to happen to Meta. It's going to be up 7 or 8% on an upgrade when someone realizes that all the spend that they're doing is going to result in higher margins. And if you're holding this name for a while, then you all good, baby. And the fact that you're only down 10% or whatever from 500, I mean, sure, the very top is 5, but I'm not even worried about that. You're down from 500 down here, you're down 12%, something like that. That's dirt damn cheap. When you're talking about AMD being down 40x% from its top, that's a problem. So for Meta, we're not anywhere, in my opinion, close to the bottom if this continues to go. But I like the story and I like the name. So I'm going to let all these things settle down. We have a big report coming tomorrow with Apple. But
Quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Meta, go back to the daily chart just very quickly if you can. Can we go back to this chart? Meta consolidating there. You don't have the 200 period up. Automatic buy at the 200 period, I'm assuming?
I mean, I'm buying it at 400, but I might be buying this afternoon.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I want to wait for Apple. So if Apple drops the market, then I would much rather buy Meta than Apple.
Yeah, I regretted the last. I got Google on a dip buy. I mean, Eli Lilly was falling so much. Not Eli Lilly.
Eli Lilly.
Lululemon was falling so much. It was easy to get Lululemon bid if you had a stink bid in there. But I missed out big time on ARM by being, what's the word? I don't want to curse about it, but it's like being too picky. I was nibbling. I was biting at the corners, right? Like, you just like sometimes throw a strike. It doesn't matter like $1 here or $1 there when the stock was in the $80 range. So we talk about trading setups. I just showed you one that didn't work, and it's exact same setup here on CGC. So SSR obviously down 25%. It's short sell restricted. What a difference a day makes. There's your wick bottom. There's it holding the higher low. There's 11, long 11.01. Stop under here. It's about 85. So it just tagged 25, and it's more about the setup than anything else. We've seen it time and time again. VWAP, scalp to VWAP. That's not really intentionally anything, but that's just where I look for the move. And the best part about it is if it gets to VWAP, that was already resistance on the stock anyways. This will be the third time I'm long CGC. If it works, then we'll be green on the stock because we were adhering to our stop levels every single time. This one started to go off 1150. Looked like that was going to be a good shot, and then it just kind of faded back in. So I'm back into CGC. Got to be patient with it. I know. Oh yeah, there goes Nvidia. Actually, is pulling back rather nicely. So if you did short it off VWAP the first time, you would be laughing. So congratulations, anyone that put that one on. It felt like it was a little bit strong. I wanted to see a little bit more weakness before I got in, and that didn't give you a retrace into VWAP the second time through.
A big congratulations to anybody out there that has winning trades today. I mean, that's what it's all about. Shout out to my guy over there. Shout out to Adara at the big desk because, no? We are going. Okay, there we go, man. Adara being director and everything. So let's go over to Adara right now as Ramin getting ready for wings.
Money here, we have the DXY trying to break above that 106.30 top that we saw coming in back in April 15th, still proving as a little bit of resistance. We had a wick above. We're not able to eclipse that area right now. We did get some economic data ahead of tonight or this afternoon's FOMC rate decision and Fed Powell coming in at 2:30. So some data including ISM manufacturing prices for April, higher than expected, 60.9 versus 55.5 expected. JOLTS job openings for March lower than expected here, 8.488 million versus 8.68 million expected. ISM manufacturing PMI lower than expected here for April, 49.2 versus 50 expected. And ADP non-farm employment change for April coming in higher, 192,000 versus 179,000 expected and 184,000 prior. We'll have to wait and see what Fed Chair Powell has to say during that Q&A and how that might impact the DXY and the overall market. Last meeting in March, he did attribute some of the inflation data being stronger than expected as having to do with seasonal changes. So now that we're out of that winter season, let's see if Fed Chair Powell changes his tune with regards to inflation concerns, guys.
Will he change his tune? I mean,
I don't.
They've gotten new data, so there's that. I mean, obviously you had some hot numbers, so look, just count the number of times you hear data dependent. I think that's what the test is going to be.
I mean, we talk about it on the podcast literally every week, and that is that it doesn't matter anymore. It literally, and I tweeted this out yesterday, and I don't know, I stand by it. Whatever, we can discuss it over here on X if you guys want to, but I just think that this is what matters. It doesn't actually matter, I don't think, what he says. I mean, unless it's something very, very dramatic, but if he just toes the line like they've been doing, then it's just going to be about earnings. We've already seen the winners and the losers with earnings. You see AMD getting to the downside right now. So we short AMD. We're short AMD right now. Another winner here, Neil, for that one to the downside. Let's see if it can continue to work. I don't know if it will or not, but it's a nice downside move there. What's up, Patrick? Nice downside. Shout out to the Leafs, by the way. Patrick, where is my damn Leaf over here? Patrick is the lucky one because
the biggest Leaf fan here.
He's wore it. Is he?
Well, he's the only person that's actually wearing gear on the floor.
Yeah, I could wear a jersey. I'm trying to, we'll do that. Biggest Leaf fan here. I'll give it to Patrick right now. And the biggest football fan, Sharif.
No, he's not. Well, soccer, yes.
I'm just playing around because Dallas, Yeah, go Cowboys. We can always we can have a long discussion there. Cowboys, my third favorite team. Okay, because without the Cowboys, we would not have had that playoff win. So I'd say shout out to the Cowboys. Not throwing shade. I like the Cowboys. But okay, we are going to go down. He talked about having some wings tonight. We talked about smoker wings and everything like that. We do want to make a trip, Sharif, to lovely state of Texas and have barbecue. So we're going to go there. But we can't go on a leg day, Sharif, because I got to make sure I get my legs in on that day.
I don't remember the name of the place. I'll have to ask our buddy from high school. But in Deep Ellum, there's this joint. And again, you have to line up on a Saturday.
Those are the best.
Lineup is like out the door, and it's like 11 o'clock.
Sheesh, AMD.
But if you're willing to buy a trough, which is a ridiculous amount of food.
Which we are.
Then you get you buy. Most people don't know this. You bypass the line and you go in a different line because you're willing to buy the trough.
Plus, we're going with Sharif.
Well, first
bypass
of all,
the line. They're going to see this guy. They're going to be like, "Yo."
The amount of protein Sharif eats.
Get your ass to the front of the line.
No, even he would be like, "That's a lot of protein." I'm just saying, like it was.
They're going to be like, "Is this Sharif?"
That's
here.
I don't know if anybody
in Dallas.
If you're in Dallas or Deep Ellum, you know what I'm talking about. I just don't. It was years ago. And I don't remember the name of the spot. I hope it's still there the next time I'm down there. Oh my goodness, it was so good. The brisket, dude, you don't even. The brisket was ridiculous. It's the best brisket I've ever had in my entire life, bar none. Wasn't even close.
There we go. We like
I had
those
briskets.
Meat sweats
going on like it was crazy.
Yeah, man, that's disgusting, but that's awesome. All right now, here we go. It is $1 right now in the money. We've got AMD coming into the downside, but here we go, 146.08 right now. So that's, hey, man, this is what we're all about. Stories, good trades right now. AMD, PL, going to PL1 right now. We just stay with what we're doing and putting on big trades. You know, these are good trades. It's too bad that we dipped our toe in CGC. I know Neil got a good one there on the backside, so congratulations.
Not over yet.
No, it never is, but congratulations so far on that one for that. But, you know, we are definitely feeling the vibes around here, man. Very positive, having a lot of fun, and also putting damage on the board for all of you. So shout out to Kevin Mendoza, everybody else that's in the chat, man. Having a good time, just being that normal dude that we are, and trying to show you that you too can, you know, do this. And I hope that we give you some good examples of that. We do have Target. I'm going to screw this up. Target trading. That's not right. What is it called? Is that price target analysis. Entry analysis. Some kind of an episode coming on the midday show about learning price targets, analysis, and entries all wrapped up into one with Miss Adara and Sharif. And then make sure you do join us back. We'll all be here because we're going to be doing the Fed. So we will be enjoying at 2:15 approximately some nice wings. And there we are. We are at the highest spot we've been at all damn day right there. So let's go. Good day, good vibes all around. Here we go. We'll props it up. It's a good one there. Highest spot of the day. Amazon, $3 in the money. AMD, we just put it on 10 minutes ago. And Neil, it is your reloaded, not your Cathie Wood, not your Jerome Powell.
It's not Cathie Wood for sure.
Not your Warren Buffett. It is your boy. Right there. Do not call me, though. I get a lot of calls. I only really answer family only, you know what I'm saying?
Screen them calls, man.
You know, screen them calls. So there it is, man. What's up, Kathy? 1 minute left, Neil. Kill him with kindness.
There's an IPO here today, guys. It's not open. 1.3 million is the current Viking. I'm not taking the opening print on this. It's like the second biggest IPO, apparently, because they upsized it. But I'm not going to be in Viking. Just to give an idea, and again, taking the opening print has been ho-hum. I think it's worth a trade if it sets up well. I said it's not over in CGC. I don't want to count any chickens before they're hatched because CGC, it's not a dumpster fire because really, like I know it's down 25%, but if you actually look at the move from yesterday, like if you bought this when the news happened, you're still in the money $3 and over 25%. It is a big move down. There's no question about it. But if it does not hold the higher low, then this VWAP retracement, this move into VWAP clearly can't happen. If it holds at the bottom, I might jump into it a second time, but that would be a separate trade from this. I only got one profit take there. So all I did is take out 20% on the way back into the upside. So it's so far so good, but remember, we already were 0 for 2 on CGC. Love it to make one move and get it all back, but it has to get to that 1150 at least before we're happy about that one. Neo's holding forward and looking okay. VWAP on Intel looking good. I'd hold on for that Viking. I think it's going to be a good volume trade. I'm just not taking the opening print anymore on those. Let's go to the midday. We've got Sharif and Adara. Go get them.
What is up, beautiful?